So, my friends, you have returned yet again. Lilith has fallen upon Sanctuary, and it is on us to defend this land from demons and angels alike. Mark and I have had our time playing Diablo IV. We've been very excited, and we have a lot to discuss around the game. Other things are going on in the MMORPG and just video game landscape as well that we would like to touch on. Little Resident Evil 4, Wayfinder, and a few others. Join us, friends, and my cat. Why does he do that to me?
Oh my God.
Immediately just jumped right onto the keyboard. Just here, I'm just gonna go directly onto this, and that's how we're gonna start the show. Thank you, cat.
I knows how to type, and he just jumps up there.
Yeah. I'm lucky I wasn't clicked onto the stream. Otherwise, he very well could have ended the stream just like that again, thus triggering me and ending the podcast for the day. Welcome back, everybody. So, tell me about your vacation. How was that? How'd you like? How was your little trip?
Vacation was good, man. We got out to Florida. The weather was nice. I got a little bit of sun on my head, as you can see. I'm not as pale and pasty as normal.
Yeah, I gotta work on that.
Universal was dope. The food was terrible. I mean, everywhere we went, the food was just like really bad. I don't know what it was. It was just not good.
The food in like in the park, or the food
in
like
the park. Yeah, in the park. So like they have a city walk that goes into the park. So you go to the city walk, and then there's two parks that are side by side like this.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of restaurants and stuff. A lot of stuff like you've heard, like Margaritaville, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere we ate was terrible. Like it was just bad. It was just bad. So, yeah, if you ever go to Universal, I suggest getting the express passes, paying the extra $500 for that. Whereas a ride would take you 3 hours to wait for, only takes about 30 minutes. So it's well worth it. Worth it. So.
Yeah, I haven't been to an amusement park in a long time, so I mean, I'm planning on going like semi soon. I kind of want to check out the Super Mario World, but I don't know.
Dude, the figurines that they had for it, like I don't really collect figurines, but I kind of want to get that Bowser, man. It is super sick. It's about yay big. It's a pretty beefy figurine. It's like $45 though.
You got the whole shelf behind you to be able to figure that out. You know what I mean?
I know. But you're right.
That's like my whole thing, man. Like I would really like to be able to display like more stuff behind me other than guitars and anime posters, but I just don't really have like a lot of the space to kind of put some of that stuff up. So it is what it is, man.
And then Friday, you know, I'm just laying in bed waiting to hit my my flight for Saturday, and you start streaming some Diablo 4, and I'm like, I need to go to sleep, and I watched the entire stream.
I know you did. It was so funny because like during the stream, I'm like, hey, you're like, I need to go to bed, and I'm like, okay, dude, go to bed, and then you're like, I'm back on again, and I'm like, dude, just get off. Why are you still here? I was afraid that you were gonna like stay up too late, get on the plane, get off the plane, and then just end up falling asleep for the rest of the day and completely missing the Diablo 4 beta.
No, I played from the time that I got home, which I got home about 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock my time, and I played it probably straight 7 hours before I went to bed last night. So
okay.
And then tonight I gotta go to nights on Monday, so I got to stay up all night tonight, and so I know what I'm gonna be doing.
Leveling up another couple classes, huh?
Yeah. The sorceress is kind of fun.
So, what level have you gotten on the beta with what characters?
I am maxed on Rogue. That was the first one I played, and I just hit 10 with the sorceress before we started the show.
Okay, cool.
So she seems to level up pretty quick.
Well, it's because you just nuke mobs like way faster than any other class right now.
Yeah. It's.
I think it kind of depends on the build that you go for. Like I think Rogue could probably do really well. I think Barbarian does do well in large monster packs, but when it comes to single target, it's just bad. Just bad.
It's just like,
I don't know.
That could be just like that too.
That could be just my opinion, but I think Personally, when I've watched other people play the barbarian, I just really haven't been super impressed with it. So, man, I don't even know where to start with this conversation. There is so much to talk about. We're gonna kind of dive in. We're gonna kind of pick this beta apart as much as we possibly can. Anybody that shows up or anybody that's in chat, if you guys have any questions about the game or anything you want us to talk about specifically, please, guys, go ahead and just drop a comment in the chat. Let us know, and we'll cover it and we'll talk about it. Sure. So let's talk. Let's discuss the. I think the best thing we can possibly do is just start from the beginning and go all the way through, right? So one of the things that I would probably like to discuss immediately is the character creator, right? So we're going to start from the menus and we'll work our way out to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So character creator. It's actually even more bare bones than I thought it was going to be. It's nice that we're getting some customization. I also we have to keep in mind, I understand why it's limited, and it's limited because the fact that your character shows up in cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's why they had to limit it so much, right? It's just odd that this character creator is somehow like less than Diablo Immortal, and that's a mobile game.
It's less than Hogwarts Legacy, which is pretty skimpy. It was surprising. Don't get me wrong, there's some cool matte effects that they do with like the tattoos. If you choose like the blood tattoo where it's all glossy and it looks like you just got wet blood written on you and stuff.
Yeah.
Super cool. But yeah, it's disappointing. It's almost as low as like a Madden game where you've got like 5 faces to choose from and that's about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was kind of disappointing, but it's still more than we've had before in Diablo.
Yeah, but here's the thing:
of a mainline game,
of a mainline series game. Yeah, not the mobile offshoot, right? So, the thing is that one of the other things I'm noticing, and this is specifically when it comes to like color palettes for the characters, the character customization, whether it's the skin, not the skin colors, but the eye color, hair color, and the tattoo coloring and tattoo options, 1,000%. All of that stuff is going to be cosmetic stuff that you can buy.
You can tell.
It's not explicitly said, but I would almost 100% guarantee that that's probably going to be exactly what's going to happen here. Hairstyles specifically, I guarantee they'll be selling hairstyles. Eye color maybe, but definitely hair color and hairstyle for sure.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second, Alex. I do appreciate that they did, and their cutscenes are top notch. They are pretty baller in this game.
Yeah. So outside of character customization, you step into the game. I think probably the best place for us to kind of start with is like, how does it feel? The feeling of playing the game.
That is such a hard question to answer. Because
tell me how you feel.
So
how does Diablo make you feel?
I will not be able to go back to play Diablo 3 after playing this beta.
Strong words. I'm going right back to I'm going to go right back to Diablo. I'm going to finish Diablo, and then after the next beta is done, I'm either going to go to Path of Exile or Last Epoch.
Yeah, I'm probably go to Last Epoch, but to me that feels like I think that they advanced it so much on it, like they improved everything around on the game that it would feel like a lesser game going back to play 3.
Okay.
That's how I kind of feel about it. Yeah.
Okay. So why are you saying that? What's the reasoning? Give me a reason. I need something.
So the quality of the enemies, just their look. I mean, when you play the other game, they're Diablo 3. Let's say your mobs, they don't have a whole lot of definition to them except for their shape. You know what I mean? Except for the shape of what the enemy is.
Yeah.
And these, like, you can see like hair shag on them. You can everything. Everything looks so good and moves so well, and just the combat sounds when you're crushing them and chunking them. It just, I don't know. It's just not the same feel.
Yeah. So,
3.
okay.
It's just an improved game.
I'm gonna. Yeah. I think the best way to kind of describe it is just that it's a much more improved title all the way across the board. Combat feels really good. movement is very tight in this game, which is one of the things I'm really impressed with. I remember back playing like Diablo 3 before, something that was always really annoying is that anytime you were fighting larger enemies or bosses, if you were trying to click around them to be able to try to like avoid mechanics, you'd always end up clicking onto that monster and not being able to go where you were trying to go. Then end up getting hit by the mechanic that the boss is throwing out. Something similar, like even it's showing on the screen right now. There's like Arcane Enchanted or whatever. You'd have that kind of stuff. Well, you're trying to dodge the Arcane Enchanted, but the problem is that your movement mapping was so bad in Diablo 3 that your character wouldn't be able to click through the mobs and like actually move to a different area. So I think movement's much better in this game. The combat is definitely slower, but Diablo's always had a slower style of combat in comparison to other ARPGs. And I've learned to kind of appreciate it as it's just Diablo's style. Everything's very heavy, everything's very weighted. The combat is very like hefty. You know what I mean? Like when you hit something, you hit something. It has a lot of impact. It reminds me a lot of Lost Ark in that sense, where the combat itself feels very impactful.
And boss fights feel like boss fights. And I know this is low level right now, and I imagine you can become just a dump truck of a character, just dump all over everything. But it feels like I have to pay attention to mechanics. I can't just go in there and just do it.
Dukes brings up probably already one of my biggest gripes of this entire game so far is that Blizzard, how do you not give me my tab map?
They added a GPS.
No, I don't give a fuck about your GPS. I need my tab map, so then that way I don't have to keep mapping every single time and covering the entire screen so that I can see where the hell I'm going. Yeah, it has a GPS, but that doesn't mean anything when you have, especially in the Shattered Peaks, especially in this area, it's so windy and there's so many tiny paths and stuff like that it's really difficult. Yeah, it's really difficult for you to be able to tell which direction you're going in without bringing up the map in the first place. I pray that they have heard the complaint for not having a tab map, because that is something that definitely needs to get fixed before this game is released. At least for me. Like otherwise, like it just really makes the game a pain in the ass to play. It does. It does. It does. You can't argue it. Yeah,
it is annoying. Like the GPS is kind of a half-ass bridge between the two of those things, but it doesn't tell me what I didn't unlock. It just tells me how to get where I'm going.
Yeah, it just tells you the general direction that you need to walk in to be able to get to a place. But the problem is we're playing a game that quite literally has achievements for map completion. I need to be able to see those areas so I can go complete the map.
You want to know why I think it's not on there?
They forgot?
Nope. I think this is. I think it's the way they develop it towards console.
They had that on console too, though.
They did, but I'm just telling you, this game is. It's almost. It's. I wouldn't say it's as streamlined as. Well, no, it is as streamlined as 3 was, but it's like I don't know. I think it's more casual, user friendly than the other way.
So how is not having a fucking screen map casual? How does that help? How does that make the game easier for you?
It's one less button or command you have on your controller.
I mean, I guess, but
I mean that's the
on controller. It was just literally hold the map button, and then it would change the map type. That's it.
I get it. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be on there, but
I don't really.
It's all conjecture.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's definitely something I would suggest that they fix. I would probably say this is some of the best sound design I've seen in a game since Dead Space. I'll just say it right now. This game's sound design is like triple S tier. If there's one thing this game absolutely captures really, really well, it's the sound design. Whether it's items dropping, whether it's like if you're a barbarian and you're doing whirlwind and you hear the different clangs of your like axes or swords against the armor and bones and weapons of other enemies and stuff like that. Everything all the way across the board, the sound, voice acting, the music, it's all good. It's just top tier.
Let's go to voice acting since we just topped on it.
Well, hold on. No, don't run away from me, okay? We said we're doing this in order. We said we're doing this. We're doing
You
feel
said
first.
voice acting. Okay,
I know. No,
Gotcha,
I just said sound. I was just saying sound in general. I think the sound really matters in the feel of the game, and like and how it plays. So movement's good. Sound is good. The other thing that I think really adds to like how good the game feels to play is that none of the abilities have that weird like global cooldown lag. Diablo 3 had it. Other ARPGs have it where there's like this small gap time between when I execute the command on my keyboard or on a controller and when that attack goes off. In Diablo 4, it's like snappy. It's bam. You know, if I'm playing rogue, I hit to shoot an arrow, it shoots that arrow immediately. Having that snappy high action time ability to use your actions just feels really good. It's really
I wonder
playing
a
responsive game feels good.
I wonder if that's what keeps you animation locked on some things, because it does just pop it off right into the animation instead of having that little bit of a hesitation before it pops off of being able to dodge out of something.
Say that again now.
So there's animation lock, okay, and you'll notice it once you start leveling up your rogue more. Of once you start a certain ability, you're locked into that ability. You can't like dodge out of it, right? You can't like cancel it.
Rapid fire stuff like that. You can't just break out of.
So I wonder, because since it is so instant, if that's why it has that animation lock. I mean, there's been plenty of times I got caught thinking, oh, I can get one more off before I dodge to heal up, and you just get spanked. So
yeah, I would agree. I do feel like skills are quick to execute though. Like when they're actually going off, like it's not like you're stuck in one spot for a really long time.
Yeah, no,
I think things execute pretty quickly, which is good. So it's not like you have these super long cast times. Obviously, I haven't tried all of the spells for the sorceress, which is the one that I would imagine would probably have the most like longer cast time. But we'll see. Alex says D2 was terrible at animation breakpoint. Glad they learned. Yeah, I feel like if I had to just take the overall feel of playing this game, and just like put it into a nutshell, I would say this they took all of the good things that they learned from Diablo 3, and then they gave it a little bit of a like D2 washover. They stole some stuff from Path of Exile. They stole some stuff from other ARPGs like Lost Ark and stuff like that. And they put it together into a really good, so far, a really good package here. But so far as the feel, it feels really good. We can go into some of the more detailed stuff. Like we can do story and we can do voice acting now if you want.
The Lost Ark stuff that they took is the stuff that I wanted them to take from Lost Ark, which was the scenic views, going up and seeing something from a certain set point where it'll pan out and it'll show you like the big castle, or it'll show you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's super dope. And they added in like the crawling under stuff, climbing up, jumping over, all the kind of cool stuff that Lost Ark made it feel like it just wasn't just a straight up ARPG. It was very nice to see in this game. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think see, Blizzard does have some incredible artists. Yeah. Overall, whether it's map design, whether it's character design, whether it's world design, all of it. And in these top-down ARPGs like Diablo, it's difficult for you to really be able to communicate how beautiful the world is. So them giving us these vantage points where we can actually sit back and look to see like what the actual map looks like. I think probably one of the coolest ones, two of them. One was the Black Lake.
The Black Lake, and then the Necropolis.
Necropolis. That one was really good too. The other one I really liked, the other vantage point that they let you like look back and see everything. I really liked the temple that you go to meet Inarius.
Oh yeah.
That place is really cool too. I also really like how they're doing these like subtle story things, because before, if you remember, in Diablo 3, it was basically just the audiobooks. That was the only you'd have your cutscenes obviously, but for the most part you had the audiobooks. There wasn't really a lot of like lore for you to discover throughout the game. where like when you go into that temple where you go to meet Inarius, there's these paintings on the wall that like these depictions of Inarius and all these different things that he did, and you can read it and you get more story. Like just as an example, Prava, the Church of Light chick, the bald head one you see in the cutscenes.
Yep.
She was actually, there's a painting where it shows Inarius and he's healing her. She got the fallen sickness. She was going to become one of the fallen, and he healed her, and that's how she became converted over to the Church of Light. Yeah, so I just thought that was cool. I'm like, otherwise, if you didn't look at that painting, chances are you would have never even knew that was even a thing in the first place, and it just gives a little bit more context to the story.
Yep. And where I think this game really shines at, and I hope it stays like this all the way through, is almost all of your side quests are voice acted. I haven't ran into one that wasn't voice acted.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. So they kind of added those, like when you're doing a side quest, they've added those rings on the map to kind of let you know where it's going to be. A la the add-on mod for World of Warcraft and Lost Ark, how they have those kind of the area of where you need to go. And so that kind of helps get those done, but they don't feel boring because they're voice acted, and it doesn't seem like it's just like a go fetch quest. It's actually like a compelling side quest story.
Yeah.
Of like for instance, one of the ladies, you have to go find her husband, right? And then when you go find him, he's flayed, like chained up between two trees, just flayed wide open. His skin is peeled off. His chest is ripped open.
I have seen so much.
Yeah.
So much pain, so much pleasure. I want more. I was like, oh man,
it's just the extra stuff just really draws you into this world. Besides, I mean, obviously the game's beautiful. The game runs great. It's beautiful, but man, that's just top notch.
I would definitely say, like, story wise, they're definitely hitting on the more like Diablo 2 crowd with the overall like feeling of the game. Like you get a lot of these more like it feels depraved. Like the people that you're interacting with, like they're very depraved, and it's because it's like Lilith and like also her like influence on people. It's very interesting, and I like that this is more human, even though there's a lot of demons and monsters and all kinds of stuff like that. But I do really enjoy the more human aspect to this one. It's very much more grounded and realistic. Which I think just makes it a bit more immersive than, say, something like Diablo 3 was.
You know what I was sitting there thinking is I haven't ran into a situation in the story of this game to where, like in Diablo 3, there were so many times it was just so ridiculous. It was like just ridiculous stuff. They get when you go find a jeweler and it's the guy who voices Poe's dad from Kung Fu Panda, and he's like in a barrel running around like, oh, we need to go. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like the tone that they set for this game.
Covetous Shen.
Yeah, the tone that they set for this game is so good. Like oh man, I really, it's gonna be tough for this game to come out.
I like how everything seems very local. We're like, here we are in like Corvashad or whatever it's called. I can't remember the exact name, but here we are in Shattered Peaks, and mostly all the people in this zone have similar accents and they talk a similar way. There are some people that you can tell have traveled from other lands that are here, but for the most part, across the board, like the people are from here, so they're talking a certain way. You don't get that random dude that's just like, oh, here's this, random, token Asian guy that we're just gonna throw in there. You know what I mean? Like it's just like where you're like, okay, where did this dude come from? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense, and it wouldn't make sense in this world. But they do a really, really good job with that. So I think narratively, the story so far is very cool. I don't really want to get too far into the narrative stuff because there's probably people that are in the chat are going to be watching this on the VOD that haven't experienced it yet and want to experience it firsthand. And I don't want to spoil any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's fair.
Because it is a really cool story, and they do a very, very good job telling it. Whether it's the personalized cutscenes or this is my favorite thing. One thing that worried me was that when I saw that they were going to do the personalized cutscenes where your character appeared in the cutscenes, I was also afraid that they wouldn't do the
character voice.
No. I was afraid that's also really cool that your character has its own voice. I don't like having to be a silent protagonist. I think that's really cool they do that. But the thing that really impresses me is the fact that they're still doing the patented Blizzard cutscenes in this as well, the full CG like cutscenes as well, and those are incredible.
They are really good. I mean, and luckily, like I've gotten to start 2 characters, so I've gotten to see 2 of the ones that I like a lot the most.
Yep.
One of the cool things is, like, I don't want to ruin it, but like I'm just gonna say, if you've played the beta, the section where you're going through and you're finding all the blood petals, and they're just kind of raining down like cherry blossoms while you're walking through the area around the Black Lake. I thought that was a really, really cool touch.
Oh,
yeah. I thought that was like they're doing a lot of cool, nuancy stuff to keep this going. But the story for itself, the thing I like about it, without spoiling anything, is the duality of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's super. It's like super engrossing.
The other thing, I think one of the other things I'm really impressed with the story also so far is that, like, usually by now in a Blizzard game, we already have an idea of like what the big bad is, what the big bad wants, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's not very set in stone yet.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not. It's pretty ambiguous. You're like, I don't really understand what's going on. Like, I do, but I don't. And then I don't necessarily know where it's going to go. Alex, I 100% agree with you, man. I like that they do a really good job of making sure that you really don't feel like you necessarily have a lot of allies. It's not the church. It's definitely not the demons. So it's, it's really just yourself and then maybe a few trusted people that you meet along the way. So I think they're doing a really good job narratively. The narrative pacing is really good in this. Very good, actually. What?
It's good. No, I was just thinking of, like, don't want to ruin the story. I was just thinking of a thought. It kind of places you as, in the same kind of boat as Lilith, actually. So.
Yeah. So anyway, narrative wise, really impressed. So we talked about how the game feels to play. We talked about how the game, how the narrative is. Obviously, the music's really good, the sound's really good. But let's actually talk about like the systems and stuff, because I feel like this is probably where I'm going to start getting into the areas of where I have concerns. Concerns.
Yeah, it's like when you sent me that message, like, "Do you love it?" And I was like, "I do, but I've got some."
I want to preface this entire conversation with something up front first, which is one. This game has all of the nuts and bolts necessary to be a very good game in the long run, no matter what. It has every basic thing you could possibly need to be a good game. It looks good. It plays well. It plays smooth. When obviously you're having a little bit of lag issues when you're entering into player areas and stuff like that, but that's something that's just going to get ironed out once the game is fully released. It performs well, and I don't even have access to be able to even change my performance options in the game, so I can't even like tell. I can't even lock a frame rate or anything like that, and it still performs really, really well. Mechanically, the game plays well. Fighting monsters, stuff like that. There's no issues, no movement issues. So like the baseline of this game is very easily an 8 to 10 game. Very, very solid base. But there are some concerns in the various systems that I have. So I'm gonna bring up my first one. I know I actually on this video somewhere I can bring it up real quick. I just saw it right there, didn't I? I was throwing some skills in right here. Yeah. So looking at the skill tree, one of the things that I don't necessarily like is that they're kind of, so it's similar in a way to say like how Diablo 2 was, but they're tricking you because it's really actually just a watered down version of Diablo 3. Like there's actually technically less options that we have in our skills in this game than we did in Diablo 3. It looks like there's more, but it's actually a optical illusion. Yeah, because realistically, if you're looking at this, this is no different than, we had six or seven skill zones or whatever on your in Diablo 3, your primary, your secondary, so on and so forth. This is the same kind of thing. However, it's like, oh, here are my 4 or 5 abilities that I can pick from. So like, let's say if, you were making a barbarian on Diablo 3, you'd have bash or cleave or, whatever else, right? Well, then you'd have all of those here, but you would have 5 runes or 6 runes to be able to choose from. You don't have that here. You have one. You only have technically 2 choices that just improve upon that one base skill, and that's it. Where at least the ones in Diablo 3 did have a lot more impact and really did kind of change the way your gameplay was. Now, here's the thing. While that concerns me, and while I'm not happy necessarily like super ecstatic about that, this could be because in-game items and the Paragon are massively transformative. And if that's the case, then this is fine and there's no problem with this.
Yeah, but like I said, that's just going to be seeing it, because before we got on, it's kind of like as is right now, skill wise, it's kind of disappointing seeing the skill tree the way it is. But if Paragon does change it, and I do think that that's what they got from PoE. I think a lot of your weapons, armor, and all that kind of stuff is going to help adjust that. But I don't think it's going to alter the skills that much as making what I believe to be, maybe the chat can correct me because we had a question. Overpowered, is that when your skill is at max 5 and then you get a +1 from your armor? Is that what overpowering is? I couldn't figure it out.
I saw there's overpowered bonus. I didn't actually look up to see. Okay, you know what? Now I'm going to bring up another thing that actually I don't like. There's not enough tooltips. When I go into that substat menu and I hover that stuff, it should tell me exactly how to calculate those things and what actually causes them. And also on top of that, I like how Blizzard is just like redefining the names for abilities and stuff now. Like they turn like it's critical hit. They call it lucky hit. It's like, why did you do this? Just it's critical hit. And it's funny because they say, oh, well, there's lucky hit and then there's critical hit damage. And it's like, well, don't you mean lucky hit damage?
Well, it's just like with the armor and the blacksmith, where it says if you break this down, you'll get a new look instead of transmog. You know what I mean?
Alex says there's an option that you can turn on. Is that for more? Well, no, I know there's the initial tooltip thing that it gives you where it says, hey, like it says, do you want more? Do you want more hints and stuff like that? Obviously, I did that initially just to see like what other kind of things that are in the game, because obviously there's a lot that's changed in this one. But
dude,
so I'll probably look into that.
I got a bow that did change twisting blades to where I'd actually start using it to where they orbit around me after they come back.
Really?
Yeah. So the weapons do alter them some. So
okay.
It just feels, the way that they set this up, it just feels like you just don't have a lot of build variety
until you start getting gear. Until you start getting legendary aspects.
Yeah.
That's really what it is, because that's going to be the loop, right? The loop is hitting the dungeons, getting all of your initial aspects that are available. Then after that, it's going to be trying to farm legendaries to get specific aspects, break them down, have them in your inventory, and then wait until you actually get a strong enough rare item, which I actually really like that. I like that idea of a system of like making us focus on getting rares, because you think about it, and in like Diablo 3, like if it was blue or yellow, that stuff was salvage.
Yeah. If
it wasn't green or orange, I'm not looking at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I leveled up 2 rings to get them to be legendary.
And I recently posted a video, and I'm not sure if you guys in chat have watched it yet, but I kind of go over the past of like, it's like a review of Diablo 3 here in 2023, looking at it in hindsight before we're looking at Diablo 4. And one of the things that like, I don't know how this is going to impact Diablo 4 in the future, but I really, this could be a really hot take. I don't want them to have set items, because I think set items ruin variety. Because in Diablo 3, set items are so overpowered that you just don't have any build variety. Everybody just gets whatever the set is, or a seasonal set, and then that's all they do. Would you agree with that?
Yes, but okay, so for set items or set gear in Diablo 3 is specifically, if you notice, every one of them has like a plus 20,000 bonus damage, whatever, blah blah blah. It's strictly for riff running, is what that builds for, right? Because that's what the end game is. So I understand why they're in there, if that makes sense. But so they just put that extra dump of percentage, and it's ridiculous. Usually it's like 20,000 or 27. I've seen it like 27,000 damage on there, so you can get through the higher riffs. I don't want that in this game, though. Yes,
I don't. And we already, and from what we understand anyway, there's no rifts that are going to be in this game in the first place. But even still, it's still an ARPG. All you're going to be doing is bossing, and you're going to be running into a shitload of enemies constantly, right? So like obviously those big AoE walkthrough builds are still going to be very valuable. But I just don't want. If they're going to put set items in this game, I want set items to be impactful, but not so impactful that it's the only thing that you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, because so the problem paint you in a corner.
Yeah, because the problem is that it's just like in Diablo 3, set items are so popular. It's not so popular. They're so powerful that there's no reason for you to like try to make some type of like unique build where you're just using like ancient legendaries and that's pretty much it. I mean, technically you can use like what is it? Oh man, I'm so bad with some of the gem names. Is it Legacy of Dreams or something like that? LOD builds, right? Where it just increases your power it gives you more damage for every non-set item you have, basically, right? You could still have I just don't want it to boil down to this like super simple way. I actually do, where I enjoyed Diablo 3 because it necessarily wasn't grindy at the end. I actually do now want the game to be grindy because I enjoy the style of Diablo more than other ARPGs.
Alex. So like I wouldn't say his concern is power creep per se. It's just in ARPGs, and me and Ian talked about this off stream yesterday. I can't think of one game, one ARPG that doesn't have a meta for each character. I just can't, and I don't know how a developer gets around it. But what Ian's saying is he also doesn't. He goes, we know that's going to happen. They don't need to throw in a set gear to push you into that corner faster. Does that make sense? Or to make it to where this is the only way you can play, to where all the other skill variations just they just don't work. So
yeah. Well, because I mean, like here's the thing. I'm just gonna use it as an example. Right now, I'm playing Diablo 3. I'm running rifts. I'm doing trying to push GR, and I'm running. I'm doing Witch Doctor, and I'm using Spirit Barrage. I'm not gonna use anything else. I'm going to get the rest of the pieces for that gear set, and that's what I'm going to use to try to push up to GR 150. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason to use anything else. And I mean, like, technically, I could go use a different set build of set items, but I'm still going to be using the Ring of Grandeur. I'm still going to be using all these other like, specific items. But like, there's just not a lot of variety. There's no freedom. I want an ARPG where there's freedom, and I think that's why, that's one of the reasons why, for instance, Path of Exile is so popular, is because its build variety is so diverse. Yeah. There's so many options that you can have, and there's abilities that you can take from kind of other classes and smash it all together and make this homunculus of a character, and you can even create your own. I mean, if you really wanted to sit down and read the numbers, turn yourself into Nostradamus, read the stars somehow, and figure out how to put a build together, you can absolutely do it. And I kind of want to see some of that in this game. But I think we'll see once we get a hold of the Paragon board and all that stuff. Then we're really going to see, where this game goes and how much it's going to open up.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think we're still going to run into that problem with this game of like specific. If they don't, depends on how they change in seasons. Because I know in seasons they said they were going to add new skills and new abilities. So if they can do that, if they can add new skills and abilities in each season, that will keep it from being the same old all the way through.
I like that. I would love to see temporary skill trees. This is one of the things, and if any of you guys have played the current season for Diablo 3, If they can do something similar to that, not every season, you can do it just some seasons, but you do something similar to that where you get this altar of rights where you're actually unlocking like character specific abilities or something like that just for that season, that would be sick. That'd be so cool. But the thing is you also have to be able to think about like, I mean, that's an odd thing to have to balance and also program for the game, literally creating new abilities. You know what I mean? And keeping it fresh, which obviously I'm definitely going to take a shot at. I'm going to definitely take a shot at Blizzard for this one. There's not a lot of new creative abilities in this game.
No.
Looking at the sorcerer, it's the same shit we've seen for the last 3 games, guys. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. Is there Blizzard? Yeah. Is there Firewall? Yeah. Is there Hydras? Yeah. Is there Meteor? Yeah. It's the same shit. Yeah. Well, we'll just leave that at that. Like, you guys could have probably done a couple things. I like what they did with the Rogue. The Rogue is actually super, super sick. I think the Rogue has a lot of really cool, diverse ways to be able to play it. We'll see what they end up doing with the Sorceress over time. Barbarian also looks like it probably have some pretty diverse ways to play. I love there's a lot of really cool things that they're doing in this that I'm really in love with. I love the fact that on Barbarian and Rogue, different abilities use different weapons.
Yeah. And see, that's one of the things that we were actually worried about for PvP purposes, right? It was like, oh, they can have extra weapons. So what does that mean? Now that I know that it's abilities, I'm not as concerned about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not. So, like you could have really good weapons on like you can't use both. Like you only have so many skills you can choose from. You know what I mean? So you're just gonna have to pick your poison. What you're gonna do? Yeah.
So anyway, so far as the skill tree and stuff, I'm okay with it for now. I think I need to like withhold any of my like hard criticisms until we can actually see what the Paragon board is like and how that interacts with our current skill tree. But for the most part, it's all right. It's kind of more of a return to D2 than it is D3 in a lot of sense, which is fine. I think this is good because I think Blizzard's starting to learn something incredibly valuable right now. And they're learning this from Path of Exile, which is you need to be able to make a system in which both your hardcore players and new players can find accessible. You want something where you're constantly creating these small things that make the game fresh and fun for your core players, but also make a game that's simple to understand enough for new players to walk in and find accessible to play. I know this is probably a shot into the heart of a lot of ARPG fans and a lot of Diablo fans. But 90% of this game, though it is made for us, it's also made for younger generations and generations that may not even be playing these kind of games yet. It's a game that they're probably going to want to survive another 10 years, and they're going to want to draw in all kinds of different audiences. That's probably also the reason why they went with the whole always online stuff. So outside of the skills, outside of that stuff, I would like to talk about the world itself.
The world is burning.
Always online. This game plays like butter when you're alone.
Yeah. When I pulled up my my outside FPS counter because Battle.net, I was getting a good 165 frames per second on a 3060.
Yeah,
which is pretty dope.
Yeah,
pretty happy about that. Only using 62% of my GPU usage. And
then you step outside or you go into a town and the game takes a dump.
It starts getting some hitching. Yeah.
It's hard to levy this as a hard criticism at the game already because we don't know how well it's going to perform once the game is fully released. Obviously, this is the whole point of them having a beta. It's so that they can catch a lot of these issues to begin with. It's also something that none of us are strangers to. We've seen this kind of thing happen before, and just about every online game that's ever had a beta has had some kind of hitches or hiccups when it comes to online play. I don't know of a single game that didn't have crashes, kicks, disconnects, lags in open areas and stuff like that. It's rough. However, and this is the thing, this is actually why I still say I'm still going to levy a concern at it. This is the thing that's going to turn off a lot of the people that still wanted to play this game offline or by themselves or solo, because this is what we can sit here and we can say Mark doesn't affect my gameplay. If I'm playing, I'm just doing my own thing. Yeah, there's some dudes that are running around doing their own thing too, but they don't really have any effect on me or what I'm doing, my quests or any of that stuff. My quests are my quests. If I go to a quest marker to do it, there's nobody. It's not some other guys doing the same quest, and now I have to wait for the monster to respawn,
yeah.
right? Except for like world quests and stuff like that. So we don't necessarily affect each other's gameplay. We do affect each other's experience because we run into the lag and the always online environment. Right, exactly. Yep. So now all of a sudden you have latency issues, even though you're still having this single player shared world experience, you're still running into latency issues where there's been a couple times, by the way, when I played Sorceress, I never died. I didn't die a single time. I hopped on Rogue. I walked out into the first open area zone. I caught a lag spike super hard, and the next thing I know, there is a pile of monsters absolutely devouring my corpse because it was a frame skip. I was just like, I'm safe. Yep. There's no monsters, and then all of a sudden the game like froze a little bit, and it was just like, you're dead, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, you just freeze. The game did not.
Yeah,
and I had it happen. And it's so weird. It's like when you're out in the world, and then you'll have a dude like run past you. And that's when it happens. You know what I mean? Like once you see another person, there'll be like a small hitch. And if you're in the middle of a fight, it'll like trying to do a skill, it'll lag that. Enough latency for that skill not to go off, or a heal to not go off, whatever you're needing at the time. And it's super frustrating. So I don't get it. You would think that it would be the world would be a server, right? That's what you would think.
I'm not really going to get into the technicals of it because I don't really necessarily understand the technology behind like how they separate our gameplay versus like peer-to-peer and actually having like dedicated servers for certain areas. I think that's probably what it is. It probably is peer-to-peer, or sorry, it is probably a dedicated server when you enter into a zone. But I doubt you're entering into a dedicated server on entering a zone. It's probably your world is a dedicated server.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is it's a dedicated server, but I thought they had a limited amount of people that were going to be in the server, right? So I don't know why crossing each other in the same server would cause that kind of latency.
I don't think it
makes sense.
I don't think it's like the limited amount of people that they need to have in a server. It's probably just the actual integrity of said server is the issue. Okay. So, and that's something that they have to figure out because obviously there's some type of conflict between the code of the game and the integrity of the server itself. So again, that's something that they're just going to fix over time. However, that does burn the people that want to just play and enjoy a single player Diablo experience, because 90% of the time you're playing this game outside of world bosses or playing with friends, you're playing it alone. And it's really disruptive to always have to be in these online areas. I don't know, like part of me wants to like judge them for going in this direction. The other part of me also says that there has been a very loud majority of people that have been asking for a Diablo-like MMO. Yeah. And it seems like Blizzard is listening to that and said, do you know what? Why don't we just go full live service and just make a Diablo MMO light and see how it rolls? And to be honest, like let's be real. With all the shit talkers and stuff like that, and the people that have been dogging on the game as much as they want, there's plenty of valid criticisms that are out there. As it stands, like this game is going to be commercially successful.
Oh, for sure. And what's funny is the always online. The always online is generally the top one or top two of someone's complaint. Yeah. Right.
If Diablo 3 can be the Destiny of ARPGs,
I don't want it to be the Destiny. But yeah,
why not Guardian?
Oh man, you had to.
I'm sorry. Rest in peace, my homie.
Yep. So no, I think it could be successful, and it as weird as it does kind of feel like an MMO while you're playing it. The way the side quests are and everything, it kind of has that MMO feel.
I was watching Quinn play it yesterday. I think I was watching Quinn play it yesterday, and he coined it pretty hard. Like there's certain times when you're certain areas, like it honestly feels like you're playing World of Warcraft. It really does. There's certain times that it feels like you're playing World of Warcraft. So you can tell that the two teams, the Diablo and the World of Warcraft team, probably worked pretty hand in hand on certain parts, especially side questing and stuff. But yeah,
side questing's really good in this game, guys. It's
really
good.
You want to know? Okay, I have my big gripe. Okay, ready for this one? Why can't I teleport to dungeons?
To dungeons?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because if you could teleport to dungeons, it would eliminate the need for a mount.
That's actually really good. Yeah. That would reduce my
and now,
the necessity.
Now I can't sell you a mount skin.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to be able to sell it to me. No, you won't be able to. No. And I'll need to get the mount. I'll need to get the mount skin because it's probably going to have mount speed, right?
Yeah, it's going to make the mount fly and faster.
Yeah, that's where they're gonna sneak that we're not doing pay to win kind of shit in there. They're gonna be like, well, we'll give you mount speed. How about that? People are gonna be like, oh.
It's a horse +1.
Yeah, I mean they do the same thing in World of Warcraft. So, and then there's good. And here's the funny thing is, and you guys already know, the minute that you see that they put in like a faster mount into the game, you're gonna see it blow up online. People are gonna be pay to here it comes. The I told you so. It's coming. They're just drooling at the mouth. Yeah.
Alex says if you've completed the dungeon, you can fast travel to it.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. I was trying to fast travel to dungeons that I hadn't completed.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense then. Never mind. Well, no, I feel like a dickhead. So,
out of curiosity, Alex, how many hours did you put into it so far? And what characters did you get and what levels? Type away.
Let's see here. What else? So obviously we talked about the overlay map. I don't really necessarily like that. They're gonna have to work on the whole world boss thing. Because I never got to see it. I never got to do it. I wasn't online. I wasn't playing the game when the hours that they had the world boss come up. So they're really gonna have to figure out. Again, this goes back to that always online thing. You don't want to limit people's progress by making them have to wait for timed events.
Yes.
But
just
also
I
to be able to do that.
But just argue, you want to draw people in too to come in. You know what I mean? So if you had something that you knew at this time is going to come in, I mean, it's.
I guess I mean people are going to play the game regardless anyway, though. The other thing is that did you guys see if there was like any type of like party system, like for you to be able to like look for group? Because I did get a quest that it said I needed to like complete the dungeon with a group of people, but I don't have any friends, so.
Dude, shut up.
I didn't get the.
What's weird is that
it's
one thing that we haven't done is co-op it yet.
That is true.
We've got that. What is it? It's the hardest one on there. It's
trade chat. Yeah, that is true. Actually, there is trade chat.
But yeah, we need to go. We need to go run and see how.
I have to go get like Moondoc's hammer or something like that. I forgot what his name was, but there's like a hammer.
Moonrack,
yeah. There's a dungeon you're supposed to go to, but it says you need a party to complete it. I mean, I play sorceress, so I could probably just do it solo, but you know.
Dude, that thing is so busted. Sork is so busted. I'm telling you right now, I would be severely shocked if it doesn't get nerfed. I can guarantee you they're getting data back now that the rogue has died the most. The barbarian has been the second one, died the most, and then the Sork just doesn't die at all.
Well, then also at the same time, the other data that they're going to get is it takes about an hour and a half for a barbarian to be able to kill a boss. It takes the sorceress absolutely no time at all, and it takes the rogue, probably doesn't take the rogue that much. Honestly, like the rogue is like depending on like the abilities that you have, like right now, like I'm using like a twisting blades build, and rogue hits hard. It's hard. I will say this though. Okay, so let's bring up let's talk about class balance, right? I mean, obviously this is only up to level 25, but you're also starting to see some things. The haze is starting to lift, and we're starting to see what this game is going to look like in the future, right? And one of the things that I'm going to tell you, and this is something that I feel like a lot of people forget when it comes to ARPGs, is that playing a ranged class is always an advantage when playing an ARPG. And this game really shows that, because yes, the barbarian can do some serious damage. However, the rogue and the sorceress can both they can cover a lot of ground, and they have a lot of damage and a lot of CC. And I see specifically for now, I mean, we don't know how the druid we don't know how the druid or the necro is going to play, but I see the sorceress and I see the rogue being absolute demons in PvP.
Yeah, I don't know. Like after I've only got it to level 10. I don't know how you're gonna beat a sorcerer in PvP.
So
as a melee.
I mean, so you think about it, and like depending on like how your build is gonna end up being, like the sorceress does have teleport, but then outside of that, like I guess you would be able to freeze as well. So you'd have like to get your escape, because you need to be able to escape. So I'm thinking of like barbarian, right? From barbarian's perspective, barbarian can gap close with leap, and then barbarian can also chain you and pull you in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So barbarian does have two things to do that, and they probably also have something as well that and they're gonna have to be able to like slow you or like put you down. Hey guys, this is Riker.
So they're basically gonna have to stun lock
you. You saw Riker playing, and it was dismayed at his lack of gap closing. Yeah, it's bad, dude. It's bad. It's bad. I kind of realized that when I was watching. I watched Asmund play for about 4 or 5 hours the other day, and I was also kind of blown away by the fact that like the barbarian just doesn't have a whole lot of movement, and it's just gonna get absolutely handled in PvP. I think it's gonna be probably one of the worst classes, unless it's just so thick it's impossible to kill them. So they just become this demon that's just chasing you, and you can't do anything to it. Because obviously their resistances are going to be super high, right?
Yeah, and I think the Necro's probably going to play like a mid between the two of being a melee caster, to be honest with you. It's going to be a mix of the two.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to go like D2 style with the...
I'm just genuinely wondering how they're going to balance PvP, especially when you have a minion. A minion character, a summoner, right?
Unless they keep it physical, where you have to have a corpse to raise from, and not just, you know what I mean?
That becomes a pain in the ass. No, they're not going to do that.
Oh, it's not a pain in the ass for the main game PvE. It's not a pain in the ass to kill something and then have to use the corpse.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, and then they expire over time.
Yep, and then the Necro build probably for PvP is probably going to be a poison. It's going to be a poison build.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really Aspen needs to become a real man and play a female character. I know, right? That's the whole reason why he won't play Genshin Impact, right? Because he knows he's probably going to be forced to play a female character.
Did he make a male character in Code Vein?
Yes, he did.
Oh my god!
He made the edgiest edgelord you've ever seen. It was a guy with cat ears and black hair and all that stuff. What's up, Nix? Welcome everybody. Welcome. Yeah. So I will say that looking at the skills of the classes as they are right now, and we've only seen 3 so far. We're gonna see more next weekend, but just thinking about like PvP balance, it's gonna be very interesting to see how they balance PvP, especially in the end game, right? I'm really hoping that this is the case, that when we look at the PvP zone, that it has some type of like ceiling to your skills and to your stats, because you really don't want Giga Chad no lifer, Max Paragon walking in there absolutely dunking on everybody out there that's under their level, right? You want to cap stats at some point, or cap a level, to make sure that people are at least on an even playing field. Obviously allow everybody to have all of their abilities, have them be able to use their legendaries and all of that stuff, but stat ceiling, otherwise there's no fucking point. You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. So you still run into, okay, so Destiny does this for their PvP.
Okay.
Where everyone has you have the option of going into a game where everyone's basically on level playing field, except for obviously the exotic weapons and armor that they have, right?
Yeah.
And that generally is what breaks their PvP. is the fact that this gun is overpowered, this weapon's overpowered, so it's easier to kill people with. You understand? But you also want to reward that person for
getting all that gear and collecting,
getting the gear.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is you're literally just going to gear grind. I mean, they can do the stats and lock them off. Okay, this is here. But if they have because of the nature of this game specifically, with all the inscriptions and runes and all that stuff that you can put on it, you could definitely have an unfair advantage regardless if you cap it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that I don't and then what's the point of having PvP in this game if everybody's the exact same? You're just a base character, base set skills.
Now you say that.
After it.
Now you say that, but then look at the success of a game like Lost Ark, who has a thriving PvP system, but does not allow you to use your gear, and it's just your base builds, and everybody's at cap stats.
See, that would be fine. But like I said,
because PvP is one of those areas in which you do want it to be as balanced as it possibly can be. Otherwise, it becomes completely unfair for others. But at the same time, because of the kind of game that Diablo is, being an ARPG, I mean, you kind of do want that imbalance, because that's the whole point, is to grind really cool gear and get a really cool build, right? Yeah.
You want to feel like the badass.
Yeah, you want to be a big boy, right?
It's a fine line. So what you could do is you could do it the latter. You could do it the Lost Ark, which would probably have a wider audience and probably last about the same time as the other one. The other way, you're gonna have a smaller audience of the hardcore elitists that want to play that.
What did they do? What did they do to balance PvP and Division? I can't remember. I know Division 2, like the Dark Zone. I know it had like pretty balanced PvP. I just can't remember what they did to balance it. I don't know if they just capped people's stats numbers. If anybody remembers, or anybody knows like how they're planning on balancing PvP for this game, obviously please drop something in chat. But because right now we're just kind of
But Willie makes a good point. They should have both. They should have Lost Ark and they should have Diablo IV PvP.
Yeah, I think having like a rated and an unrated system is probably good. Like having a rated and unrated zone, like maybe even different currencies, or one has a leaderboard or something like that. You know, like the rated zone has a leaderboard, and then the unrated place is probably just a spot where we go to like try to get currencies. But I just imagine us getting to the point where like, and it's not even me, because I will be that guy. Like I will I'm the dude that used to sit outside of Gadget Stand in World of Warcraft with my freaking like fully leveled character and farm noobs. Like lower level characters and stuff. Like people would just like roll through, and I would just was it like Eyes of the Beast, where you can like control your pet as a hunter, and I would just roll my pet into town and just attack people while they were talking to NPCs and kill them. So I absolutely will be that guy that's just sitting there just absolutely shitting on people out in PvP. That's actually probably one of the things that I'm like the most excited for in this game, is to see how the PvP is going to work out, because I will live there. I will live in that zone. I will farm you for my blood currencies.
You know what? Speaking of blood currencies, I gambad and I lost dud.
Bro.
So, dude, it was so crap. Like, it's straight up RNG, and I got two whites out of it right off the bat, and I'm like, I am out of this. Okay. I'm so mad that I did not get this on camera, because this is like, I stopped recording. I wasn't streaming at the time. I was just trying to hurry up and get my sorceress up to level 25 and get off for the night. And I went over and I was like, you know what? I'm fitting a Gamba right now, right? And I'm like, I didn't use any of these coins. I'm just going to use these coins, buy a key, and then buy a few pieces of gear. I am not kidding, chat. I clicked one piece of gear. I was like, okay, well, I need some new gloves. I clicked gloves once. I got a blue. I clicked it a second time, got a legendary. And I was like, well, shit, okay. And I'm like, well, I guess I need a chest piece too. I clicked chest piece once, got a legendary. I went down, I clicked pants once, got a legendary. I was like, what? I'm going to the casino. I'm out of here. I'm like, I'm heading to me a lottery ticket.
Yeah, Vegas is only about 2 hours away. I'm on my way, baby. Let's roll. And yeah, and then obviously then I got overzealous and wanted to get a weapon and rolled nothing but grays, but you know, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, Drake. It's the same as 3 with the blood shards, except for they're actually harder to get than blood shards are.
Yeah, because it's random from chess bosses and elites.
Yeah, they're actually a lot harder to get.
Yeah. Obols.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it's kind of a cool system. I like the fact that they kind of already hit us like with the Gamba system right off the bat, like that we can just always partake in something like that. This is something similar to Diablo 2.
Yes,
it's another Diablo 2 system that has returned because if you remember, there's an NPC in the very first town in Diablo 2 immediately where you can Gamba for your regular currency and try to get new gear slots.
Yeah. I think what I'm like, but other than the story of what I'm most excited for this game now is the story. I really like the fact that I can take a weapon, and because this game doesn't, it kind of does the same thing all Diablos do. Is it lets you level up until your weapon's under level and you're hoping to find the next weapon or you have to buy one, whatever, right? But you can actually level up your weapon just from collecting resources and stuff, and it's not all like super crazy. Like I had to go out and do a whole lot to be able to do it. The cost isn't too high. I leveled up, like I said, I leveled up 2 rings to make them legendaries. So I mean, it's a pretty cool system. I kind of like the crafting esque of it. I don't know.
So, how do you feel about the balance so far, like the leveling balance as we're kind of going through? I think one of the things that I noticed and I was kind of surprised by was that like in Diablo 3, it was really noticeable when you haven't got a good piece of gear in a long time or a new weapon.
Yeah.
Like you'd literally just start hitting stuff and it would feel like you're just doing absolutely nothing. In this game, I never really felt that, but I did always feel when I got a new weapon, if that makes sense. So I never felt like I was progressively getting weaker, but like because sometimes what happens is that you get a couple good quests done, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden you just leveled up 2-3 times. And now all of a sudden your overworld level is higher than what your equipment is. But I never felt that I never felt like I was weak. But I did always feel like I was strong when I got something new.
When you got a new weapon, yeah.
But
like, gear-wise,
chat for you guys that participated in the closed beta, give us your thoughts on that as well. I actually feel like the balancing, leveling wise, has been really good.
It's been pretty good. It has been pretty good. I still didn't like I said, when I had the weapon part of it, because like the gear, I was constantly getting gear that was better, like constantly getting it better, and I like the way that they show it now with just like a green or a red number of your rating on it.
Yeah.
But I think at the higher end part of that, it makes it a little bit harder, especially for the rings. It's one of the things I didn't like about the rings. The rings don't show that. The rings just show its item rating, and that's it. So if just because it has a higher item rating doesn't necessarily make it a better ring for your build.
Pilot, you hit it right on the head, dude. I went and I did like one of the I take it back. Before, I absolutely lied to you guys. I am so sorry. I said that I never died as sorceress. I did. I died 4 times as sorceress, and it was all in the same place. It was when I went to go and do my first stronghold, and it was like, oh my. But here's the thing, this is something I noticed, is that in the overworld normally everything is your level. When I went to go and do that stronghold, it was 2 to 3 levels higher than I was. So like I was getting smashed on. If you took one wrong turn, like you got hit hard. That's actually something I will actually bring up, and I kind of skipped over it. The difficulty scaling is very good here. This leveling experience, like especially if you're playing on veteran, like the difficulty feels good. It doesn't feel like D3 where I'm literally just hammering into a wall of health, right? You know, I put it on master mode and I'm weak and I'm just like hammering into a wall of health, and there's really no difficulty outside of that. Like this is like you're paying attention to mechanics, you're trying to actually CC and control the you're actually trying to crowd control, you're trying to dodge things. You're actually interacting with the game on a more fundamental level than we usually have before. And I really, really, really like that with this. I think they did a really good job with the difficulty scaling.
Yeah, like we haven't done it, like, because I guess you're saying he was having problems getting groups for LFG. I don't know if that's just a beta thing. I don't think we have, like, just because if you look at the options, you're not able to select a whole lot of options to change, your video gameplay and all that kind of stuff. I don't think all the options are there yet. I don't think all the like LFG, or they might even throw in the tab map for you, buddy. It just might not be in the beta build. Who knows?
I want it. I want tab
I
map.
want it real bad.
But I want tab map.
I think maybe after we get done, we should probably try to go
do some group content. Yeah,
do some group content and kind of.
I still got to get more footage because I have a video. Yeah, you guys watching are gonna love this. So my video next week is it's a video for the haters. And it's gonna be good tea. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Because here's the thing, and actually, Dukes brings it up right now, and he's like, some people have been complaining about the scaling and whatnot. People have been complaining about just about anything that they possibly can to try to make sure that they feel like the game is bad in some way, and they try to sell it out in one way or another. And I think anybody that's watching this right now would 100% agree that this is a solid game all the way across. Are there some worries about what the end game can be? Yes, because
100.
any ARPG is only as good as its end game, and we can all recognize that. But as it stands, this is a good game at the start. But one of the things that's like bothering me, and one of the things it's not bothering me, it's driving me absolutely crazy. That's actually what I probably should say, is that like some of the criticisms that people are levying at the game are just either unfounded, unsupported, or like they just don't make any sense. Like, you got some people that are like, oh, the crafting system sucks. You don't even care about crafting. Nobody does. Let's be real. Nobody cares about fucking crafting. Like, yeah, it's cool if it's a good system and it works, but really what you want to do is you want to hit a monster, blood go everywhere, and items fall out. That's what you're playing. That's what you want. Like, it's good to have a healthy crafting system within a game like this, but at the end of the day, you want to hit things and go bang. Like that's really what it comes down to. And I think that the crafting system is completely fine for an ARPG. Especially us, I actually genuinely really like the taking rare items and applying legendary affixes to them. It's a really good way for you to be able to stick to your build. It's not like, oh man, I have this, I got this really good example of this. You're playing, you have a build, you're leveling up, you're level 40, and then all of a sudden you get to level 47, and guess what? Your weapon, it sucks, but man, you really need that legendary affix because it's integral to your build. Yep. You rip it off, you throw it on a new weapon, and you're good to go. Like, it's good design, it's smart design, it's solid. I'm not really too sure where people are, where they're coming up with a crafting system. So what do you want to craft? What is it that the game is missing? I'm waiting to hopefully see some content creators that are better than I am, which is a lot of them, that come up with some solid ideas of like what would actually make a better crafting system. But outside of that, like, the crafting system in this game is very non-intrusive. It makes it it makes it where it's cool to use. You can use it, optional. But it's 100% optional. And people forget that this is not Path of Exile. This is not the game. This is not Lost Ark. This is not the game for hardcore players. This is a game that's going to appeal to hardcore audiences, but it's made to be accessible. It's made to have as many people be able to play it at once, so that they're not trying to get that crowd. I think that's the one thing like people really get away from with a lot of these arguments that I see, is that they think that it has to be the Path of Exile killer. They think that it has to be the Last Epoch killer. They think it needs to be the king of ARPGs. No, it just needs to appeal to an audience, and then keep that base and hold on to it. That's it. That's it.
And Bobby is threatening goat violence in the chat, and I don't appreciate it. If you didn't know, Bobby, I happen to be quite the goat lover. See my little goat here? Yeah. And he screams. But yeah, I don't imagine we're gonna have the login issues. I don't imagine we're gonna have the login issues like when the game launches. I mean, it might, but I don't think it's gonna be as bad. And honestly, in all honesty, they got it fixed fairly quickly. Like when I finally got to log in, it was instant. So But no throwing goats out of windows, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll be okay.
So like, but I mean, like some of the other major criticisms that I've seen people levy as well, are not major criticisms, but just like of the popular sentiments that you either see in YouTube comments, Reddit posts, stuff like that. These dudes that keep saying this looks like a mobile game.
Like, fuck those guys. I'm gonna say it. Fuck those people. Fuck them.
I'm like sitting here and I'm like looking at this game and I'm like, okay, dude, like. You can make solid criticisms about like how the game plays in certain ways. You can't say the game looks like a mobile game. This looks better than most of the things that we've had over the last probably like 3 years of AAA titles. You know what I mean? Like, remember that like outside of like Hogwarts Legacy, you know, the was the last AAA title we got was like Forspoken. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you mean this looks like a mobile game? And then also, so the other thing is too, and I'll bring this up with the chat as well. You guys let me know. How do you guys actually feel about the UI? Personally, I'm not really bothered by it. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. I think it's slick. I'm not comparing this game to Last Epic. I'm not comparing it to Path of Exile. I'm not.
You need to.
Ark. No, you don't.
It needs to beat them.
I am 1 for 1 comparing this against Diablo 3.
It needs to beat them. It has to be the best ARPG ever.
It has surpassed Diablo 3 in every aspect of its game.
100%.
Every aspect of its game, it has already surpassed it, and it's just the beta. So I'm more than pleased with what they've shown so far. I'm more like, this game is going to be something that I play for quite some time going forward. So
yeah. And here's the thing. Everything, and I brought this up again, if you guys have not watched my last video, which is about the history of Diablo 3, a review of the past for Diablo 3. D3 set up everything for this game. It was something that was always made for accessibility from day one. And I think that it's going to end up spelling success for this game over time, because there's a lot of elements here that work really, really well. And as long as Blizzard properly supports this game, this maybe could be more profitable and more have a much more loyal audience than Overwatch. Like it could be technically probably one of their better lives, because it's obvious that Blizzard wants to have all of their titles live service. Would you agree with that? Overwatch Overwatch live service.
Every company does.
Overwatch is obviously a live service. Any MMO is a live service title. Now Diablo is a live service title. The only one that they don't have that's live service is StarCraft. I don't know how you do that with a RTS game.
They'll figure it out.
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way. But financially successful, if they're doing paid seasons on this game, this is gonna be a contention part of it. This is where the tires meet the road for some people.
Mosh Front says the typeface for the tooltips and the damage numbers and the combat kind of suck. UI is like 6 out of 10 for me. So it's one of the things.
It's fair.
I would say this. I'm not going to give the UI a 10 out of 10. I'm not going to like it's personally, I don't think it's a very like scoreable UI, because it's just passable. Really like, it's just a passable UI. It could be better. I don't think we really need, my question is, do we need big balls?
I do.
Do we need big balls? I also feel like I feel like this is it. I almost want the ability to customize the UI and flip it to the side of the screen that I want it to be on.
You can.
Can you?
Yeah, you can move the UI. It's in the options.
I didn't look for that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fucking idiot. So I just like to throw accusations. See, I
just like to throw out wild shit.
I'm a Redditor. Okay, so I just want you to know.
Yeah, I like the UI. It's passable. You know what I mean? Like the pictures aren't that dynamic, but what they did versus Diablo 3. Diablo 3's little symbol pictures down there were confusing. They were muddy and gross looking, and these are just simple, clean. I know what the ability is.
Yeah,
I know it sounds weird. They're like, it's almost runish is what the way they look. There's just a simple drawing on a tile.
Yeah. I mean, like the typeface could probably be a little bit better in some ways. I don't think the UI is like overly intrusive, which is nice. It's pretty like, it doesn't cover a ton of the screen like you see with like a lot of more modern ARPGs. I feel like the screens can kind of get a little polluted over time. So it's good in that sense. Obviously, they need to change some of the button mapping stuff. I don't like the fact that I have to wait until I unlock abilities for me to be able to actually set abilities on the bar. I don't know if you noticed that.
I think that yeah, that was irritating me too.
Yeah,
but
it's like because initially I'm like I kind of wanted to put one of my spenders immediately on the bar, but instead I had to keep it on my mouse, which I wasn't really a huge fan of.
Until you unlocked them.
Yeah, until you unlocked them. Outside of that, like I think there's some improvements that they can make, and maybe they'll make them over time. But as it stands, it's a passable UI. It's not gonna get high scores for that, I don't think. But the gameplay is really what we're trying to pay attention to. The gameplay is the one thing that we were the most concerned about going into with this game, and that is the one place that they without a doubt did really well in, because the game feels good to play.
Yeah,
it's just the always online stuff that it actually does. Though it's something that doesn't bother me because I actually like the idea of Diablo being this shared world MMO-esque experience. I like it personally. I'm one of the people that's digging it. I am worried about how that's going to affect the player base. I'm also worried about how it's going to affect like game integrity.
Yeah, I'm worried about sustainability just in general, because Irk in the comments says if they give us brand new content or new mode or new quest, he has no problem with buying every season. Yeah, we're going to get the seasons regardless. It's just going to be seasonal rewards, right? And so that's where I think a lot of people are going to make that conscious effort to either start spending money, and it's not going to be I don't know what else they could put in other than cosmetics for it to not be a pay to win or pay to play or whatever. You know what I mean? Not pay to play, but pay to win.
Yeah.
So like, do they do new characters during seasons, or do they wait for expansions for that? Do they do? You know what I mean? So like, if you buy the season, do you have to buy the season to get the character?
So that's also something I'm really interested to find out is with the seasons. Are they planning on doing seasonal content similar to what they did for Diablo 3, where we're gonna have to do fresh starts? Because nobody in their right mind is gonna want to do all the map completionist stuff all over again. Like, I don't mind doing it once, but the longer the game is out and the more they expand upon it, the further and further that goalpost gets. And I couldn't imagine myself trying to go back and find all the shrines of Lilith and all that kind of stuff again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't see the point in doing that. It didn't make a whole lot of sense too. But...
So I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see what they're going to be doing with their seasonal content, because you want to make it fresh, but you also don't want to like make it a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's supposed to be new events, new abilities. I don't imagine they're going to add new zones, but they could. They could.
Okay.
I don't like.
Hold on. I just had this. This would be so cool if they did this. Obviously, this is not what's going to happen because Blizzard's not as smart as I am. So, but how cool would it be if every season we had an additional seasonal level, right? So let's say, hey, it's season 1. Season 1 has an additional 10 levels that you can get in that season, that has additional skills that you can get specific to that season, additional like items you can get in that season, stuff like that, dungeons that you can do in that specific season. After that season is done, bam, you drop back to your initial level. All of that like stuff, all that stuff rotates, and then now it's new dungeons, new items, new seasonal level, new seasonal abilities, all that kind of stuff, and it just continues to shift. That way, you're not moving the goalpost every single time for players. It just transforms the season. So like you have a seasonal level that you're going for. Yeah, you're right. It is like Destiny, like light level. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so 100%. that way you're not continually having to add on content that's necessary for players. I was just having this conversation about Final Fantasy XIV the other night. Okay. Jackie and I were talking about it, and I was like, could you imagine how difficult it is going to be for new players to want to play that game in another 2 expansions? There's already over 100 hours of single player storyline in that game. You add another 2 expansions on top of that, now you're talking about somebody having to go through 140, 150, 160 hours of just story to be able to get to play with their friends in the end game. That is crazy, and nobody's going to want to buy into that. So that's a really interesting thing that they're going to have to solve in the future. That's also the same thing that we don't want to see happen with Diablo here, where you're constantly moving, you're adding new Lilith statues and new this and new that. Like, you want to give people stuff to do, but you also don't want to like create a more and more difficult barrier to entry.
Dude, maybe fucking WoW wasn't wrong. Maybe Blizzard wasn't wrong.
Oh, just kill it.
Yeah,
just walk away from it.
You have to kill it and start them in a certain spot in the story.
I like I do like World of Warcraft's idea of just being able to choose what expansion you want to level in.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a specific story that you yourself would like to go and experience, you can still just go and experience that story. I think that's cool. I don't know what their plans are, like how much content they plan on pumping into this game. I don't know if it's on that level where they need to be worrying about something like that.
No, I was thinking about Final Fantasy. Like
certain things could be.
They're gonna have to come up with some solution.
Irk, this is exactly why you said, and this is exactly why Destiny is a really good example of this. Is that Destiny does do that, where certain seasonal things do carry over to later. There's certain things that you can weapons, and then there's also weapons, gear, and titles, but titles don't really care to part of your gameplay, right? We're talking about something that's actually like power, right? Power that you can carry into other seasons. Another really good example is you can actually still go back and earn currencies for that season to buy that seasonal equipment. So, but it's optional. It's not something that you need to do. It's just like, oh, hey, when you get to max level, if you want to, you can go back and do previous seasonal stuff, earn previous seasonal currencies, so that you can buy those items. So that way that stuff is always available. How much do you guys hate it when you see somebody wearing or using an item that you will never have access to because that seasonal content is gone?
I stopped playing Destiny because of that. It's so irritating.
That's what I'm talking about. Make it where that stuff is still accessible to other players, but it's optional. It's not something that they actually have to do to progress in the game. If they do stuff like that, can we agree I should just Blizzard should just hire me? We just sit at a desk. I'll just shoot ideas at them all day. They can pay me in milk.
Yeah, don't drink the milk.
So I'm really interested to
gear and cosmetics, Wooly. Gear and cosmetics. It's just like cosmetics and gear. It is completely optional, and it's all vain. It's all vanity, right? So it doesn't really matter. But I'm a sucker for a good skin.
I just want okay, chat. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I just want to have my barbarian Dami Mommy in a short skirt and high heels.
I'm such a sucker for skin, Ian. I checked to see if the store was available in the beta.
You are if you guys ever wanted to know who's the problem, who's ruining gaming, it's that guy. It's this guy right here. Right there. That guy right there. He's the one. He's the guy. He's the one in the cash shop that is sitting there buying every skin the minute it becomes available. Every mount that pops up, he's buying it. He is the swiper. This is the reason why he has to stay away from pay to win games, because this dude would get stuck in it. Probably lose his house.
Yeah, I don't even have a house. This is all fake.
This is a set.
This is all fake.
This is a set. I don't even live here. I break in and use this guy's camera.
Oh, Wooly, I don't do gacha games at all. I'm just a sucker for skins. But yeah, gacha games. That would be this guy had a problem with gacha games, not me.
No, what are you talking about?
He spent thousands of dollars on gacha games, Wooly. And good for him. He got himself out of it.
Dude, it's anime titties. I don't know what to tell you, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I couldn't get away from it. I did finally, though. I got clean, I got clean. Yeah. Cleaned myself up. I'm better now. I'm better.
Yeah, pay to win mechanics don't do it for me, but man, I do like a nice skin.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah. So, okay, other things. We got to get back on this Diablo train, right? We still have more to talk about. So one of the other, I will actually tell you one of the things that this is a valid criticism, and I would guarantee anybody else that has played the closed beta that is in chat right now will probably 100% agree with me. I think that dungeons are, boring. Because they from what I've seen so far, all they do is recycle the same thing over and over again. It's Go collect the mechanical pieces to put on the
yeah.
pedestal so that you can unlock the boss door, go fight the boss, and then you win and get your affix, and okay, that's it. It's so repetitive. It's so beyond repetitive. And I'm really disappointed that they didn't try to no, worse than Rifts. It's even more repetitive than a Rift is. At least a Rift is like at least Rifts are fast. Dungeons are not fast. Dungeons are slow and they're boring. And the boss fights aren't too bad, but like the backtracking that you have to do if you didn't pick the right path that just so happened to have the key on it that you need for the door at the end, and then you got to backtrack and walk your ass all the way over there, and you don't have any sprint, and the only movement you got is a dash or your dodge ability, so it takes forever to walk all the way back and backtrack to go get what you need. That stuff is terrible. I would like to see more variety. I realize that there's going to be more variety when we do like chaos keys or the dungeons or whatever, like the mythic dungeon thing that they have, because that's going to be like procedurally generated. But as it stands, the dungeons are boring as shit.
I just like the fact that they have a boss in them, to be honest with you. And I've been killed by the butcher 3 times. He has popped up for me 3 times, and I have yet to kill him.
I've only seen like 2 or 3 people actually kill him. And one of the guys only killed him because he was next to one of those barrage shrines, the ones that shoot all the arrows when you attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he smashed the shit out of him. He was cracked. I'll give it to him. He absolutely killed the shit out of that motherfucker.
But yeah, he kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, the tile sets are very, very simple, and they're almost all fork shaped. It's usually like, I'm starting here. I go straight, and then I can either go through the boss door, but the boss door is closed, or I have to go left to go get one key, or right to go get the other key. And it's just boring. It's just lazy map design, which is super sad because the overworld, the overworld is so nice. And then and then all of a sudden you lose the touch in the dungeons, which is the one place we're going to be spending more of our time than anywhere else.
Yeah, it is disappointing. I was hoping dungeons would be cooler and bigger.
I think the worst part about that too, Mark, is the fact that this is beta, so there's nothing that they can do about that.
It's in
the game.
This game's done.
Yeah,
like this game's done. The only thing that they're gonna do are add features or turn features off. That's it. There's not gonna be like I can make this dungeon bigger or whatever. They're just gonna add options of for your settings and stuff like that. That's the only thing that's going to happen with this game.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, when I downloaded it and it said it was like 90 something gigs, it's like, yep, that's the full game.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So yeah, the dungeons are boring. How do you feel about gearing, substats, and affixes?
So, like I said, I enjoyed doing the. I like how simple the breaking down to get affixes off of stuff and to go into dungeons and getting them. Like I said, I used 2 of the dungeon ones that made my my builder ability add 5 more energy per attack, which is super bonus, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I stacked it, so I put it on both rings, so it stacked, so I was getting 10 energy per attack on the rogue.
I'm listening. I'm just grabbing my water.
Brutal. No, you're good. Which is like crucial if you're running that like barrage, not the barrage, but the rapid fire build, because that thing kills your energy like super fast. I don't think I leveled up any other equipment or weapons into legendaries. But I did break down a couple more legendaries to get some more affixes for stuff, which is so weird is because I don't want to spend too much time in it because it's a beta and it's going to be all meaningless in about, tomorrow. So I didn't want to spend too much time doing it. But what I was surprised with in this beta, getting a little bit off topic, was how much there is to actually do. There's like 35 side quests to do, all these dungeons to do, even though they're not, they're kind of mid. There's just a lot of things to do in this beta, which is surprising. I didn't think it would be that rotund.
Yeah. What up, Tim A? So okay, let's see here. Go through chat a little bit here. Beta with a month, 2 months away pretty much means that what you see in the beta is what we get. Yeah, there's not really anything that's going to change that much. This is, by the way, if you guys haven't also had the opportunity to check out the video I did last week on Baldur's Gate 3, this is the reason why specifically, I'd actually like to see this more with, I'd like to see this more with live service titles. I think that they need to do some type of more early access program, because Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be probably, chances are it's game of the year. Chances are it's game of the year. The reason why I say that is specifically because of the fact that, like, they were able to involve their players in playing the game much earlier, which allowed them to find out, like, what systems players enjoyed, what systems players did not enjoy, and they figured out how to be able to make the game basically as enjoyable as possible for the people that want to play it. The downside to Diablo enshrouding this game, or sorry, Blizzard enshrouding this game in haze over this time, where they did, closed beta test with friends and family, closed beta test with people that had played Diablo for, X amount of hours or whatever. The issue with that is that since you're not regularly involving them or the casual audience, you have really no idea how players are going to interact with this game when it's out. You don't know the criticisms and the issues that they're going to run into, the things that you technically could have been able to solve relatively easily well before the game ever comes out. And in this case, specifically with something like the dungeons, this is something that they would have been able to fix 100% before this game ever was released. It's the downside that these games wait like a month or two before release, before they end up doing a beta, and all they ever do with the beta is really they're just testing their servers. It's not the game. They're there's what I like to refer to as AAA overconfidence, that they believe that they know everything that we want and everything that we will enjoy interacting with, but they later find out that no, us needy little bitches do not like to like to engage with some of the things that they put into these games. So,
and the cynic in me, right, wants to say the reason. I mean, they have never done that before with a Diablo game of do like an early access type deal. But I think the main reason like I said, the cynic in me, the main reason that they kept it undercover, under wraps of showing stuff is because they wanted to give Diablo Immortal its time in the sun. Even though Blizzard this studio isn't directly involved with it, they still are receiving money from it. So it's not like it's not there. You know what I mean? So.
Okay.
I think
so. I'm gonna ruin a video that is gonna be coming out very soon that I'm gonna be doing. Because I have a rant video that I'm gonna be doing for next week. Where I'm going in on the Diablo naysayer audience. But I constantly see these comparisons and tell me if you guys have seen this in chat. Have any of you guys seen where people in the comment sections of videos or on Reddit or something like that are just like, just wait until Blizzard rug pulls you. Just wait until they put pay to win inside the game and they turn it into Diablo Immortal. I've seen this talking point be the main reason why a lot of people don't want to interact with Diablo Immortal. And it kind of, not Diablo Immortal, why people don't want to interact with Diablo 4 because they think it's going to turn into Diablo Immortal. And it drives me up the wall because, I actually, Bert, I recognize, I think you might even have commented on one of the videos before. So I'm going to give, and I'm not going to give my ranting opinion of it because I could definitely go in on it pretty hard, but I'm going to try to give the base understanding that I can, right? So I'm going to say this, okay? So you guys don't know a ton about me personally or anything, but I went to school, I graduated, my degree was in marketing, okay? One of the things that you learn is that certain subsets of people, depending on where that consumer is in life, whether it's like economically, demographically, geographically, all of these things count towards whether or not they are going to interact with a certain product or not, okay? And in the instance of pay-to-win mechanics residing in AAA full-price titles, it's not it's not smart. And it's not smart because, oh, it's going to piss off the fans. No. It's not smart because we don't interact with games the same way as mobile gamers do. See, mobile gamers have limited time to play their games. They're playing games in short bursts, okay? We're playing games like, oh, man, I'm on the train, I'm playing a game. Oh, man, I'm at work, I've got a few minutes on my break, I'm playing a game. So they're more apt to spend money on small-end microtransactions to speed up the process of their gameplay and get better at the game so that they feel like they get more out of their game sessions because of the limited amount of time and the zero barrier to entry they have to play that game, right? Because all you have to have is a phone, and everybody has a phone, so there's really no barrier to entry there. When you're looking at a console game or a full-priced premium title game, you're look at all the barriers to entry that you have. You have to have a television. You have to have a space in which you can actually play that game. You have to have the console or the PC to be able to play that game on. Then on top of that, you also have to either have the income or the accessibility to actually purchase that game in the first place, which is a lot of barriers to entry and a lot of cost. I don't want to say it like cost, a lot of investment. There's a lot of investment required for you to be able to play. No. I don't mean it like I'm not trolling on the Diablo Immortal guys, but there's
I know.
As premium gamers, there's a lot of investment that we have to play these games. And when we're buying them under the assumption that we're going to get 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 1,000 hours out of these games. So we are less inclined to spend money on microtransactions that are pay for power because that undermines the value of us playing that game to begin with. Because I don't want to beat it faster. I just want to have fun and get good at the game. You know what I mean? Like, or get good at the game, enjoy the experience. Our value in playing the game for a longer period of time is higher when we're playing premium titles on our premium consoles or on our PCs than it is when we're playing mobile games. So on a technical perspective, the marketing departments within these companies, these AAA companies, recognize that pay-for-power microtransactions don't really work inside this game space unless the game is free to play. Then they maybe could think about doing it, but when the minute you put an actual price or you actually put an actual price on it, that's where things change. Now, you do see some pay-to-win-esque mechanics sneak into some video games, but for the most part, and I really like to highlight this because there are games that are that are AAA titles that were full premium price titles that have had pay-to-win mechanics in them before. However, they all failed horribly. I think one of the best examples of this is Ghost Recon. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Ghost Recon came out and there was max level boosts and all these different things that you could get in that game. Not only was it a bad game, which typically I'm of the standpoint of if you're building a game and you're building that game, this is a whole other conversation I could get into, but like it's the same standpoint that I take with like NFT games, right? And crypto gaming is that like when you're making a game and that game is based on how we're going to make money, and that's your main focus at the beginning, that means you're going to forget to make a good game. And that's why those games fundamentally fail immediately. Because if there was a good crypto game and it was legitimately addictive and super fun to play and fun to interact with, people would probably fucking play it. But the problem is none of these people know how to, all they're thinking about is the investment opportunity, the money-making opportunity, and because of that, everything fails. When you're trying to build a game off of microtransactions, it really only works in the mobile space. It doesn't work in the AAA space the same way. Can it in the future? Can some gigabrain guy come up with an idea that can actually milk us for our monies on microtransactions? Absolutely. I think it's completely possible. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys are welcome to disagree with me on this. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
A lot of companies they bring in psychologists to help the developers find what mechanics they need to put in their games to drive people to buy microtransactions. So, like I said, most free-to-play games are all think tank like that from the get-go before the game's developed. what mechanics it needs to have. What kind of gatekeeping are you going to have on it? Is it going to be, you can't collect any more of this crystal until after 12 hours, or you can pay right now to be able to get more crystals for the next 24 hours, or here's just 200 crystals, or you can't buy crystals today. It's so weird how they do it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you completely. I mean, mobile and premium are two different things, and I can understand where people are going to associate the two. And what it boils down to is why people are mad about Diablo Immortal is because they use Diablo. That's why.
It was because it was targeted and marketed towards them, and they were like,
yes,
they were offended. And I'm not going to say they.
Rightly
we
so.
We were offended that Blizzard thought that they could target and market us a pay-to-win mobile game. And it's not like, and because the problem is that I see all these people keep talking about wait till Blizzard rug pulls you again. There was no rug pull with Diablo Immortal. I'm sorry, but if you were the guy in the crowd that was like, there's no way that this isn't going to be a pay-to-win mobile game, even though every single mobile game is pay-to-win. That's the whole reason you make a mobile game, is because you're making a pay-to-win mobile game that will make you a ton of money. You know what I mean? Like, if you're that guy that was sitting there was like, yeah, this is going to be good. Blizzard's totally going to do the I guess what you'd think is right thing. Personally, if I worked at Blizzard, I would have been that dude and been like, we need to get a mobile game. We need to milk these motherfuckers. We can milk them hard. But I am going to guarantee you, and I'm going to tell you right now, your hardcore ARPG fans, your Diablo fans, there is no way in hell that they were the ones that were going to buy into that program, because we just do not value our time. We value our time differently than the people that play mobile games. We value our experiences in games completely different than people that play mobile games. So there's the only thing. Exactly. Dukes hit it nail on right in the head. People were expecting a Diablo 4 announcement. They got a mobile game announcement. But however, people have somehow translated that into, and this is the example that they give. And I really hope chat is on my side with this. They gave the announcement, or sorry, that wasn't the announcement, during the beta play and the beta and alpha testing. There was no, the shop was not enabled, and it didn't show any pay to win mechanics.
Yep.
And then when the game was released, everything was time gated and there was pay to win mechanics.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh my, they lied to us." And it's like, no, they didn't. They wanted them to test the systems to make sure everything worked. And then when the game, you're not going to have people be able to pay for stuff or show them your microtransaction list when you can't, when you would have to refund all that money if they try to interact with it in the first place. You can't give them something and then immediately take it away. That's not how that works.
I've got a question. The Nexus deal in China, where they lost their WoW and Diablo and all that stuff, that did not affect Diablo Immortal, correct? Because well, no, it's not just the mobile; it's also the contract time. Okay,
it's because what it was is, from my perspective, at least my understanding is that Blizzard like sold the rights for them to be able to use it.
Yeah, so
they contracted to be able to use. They contracted to be able to use. Yeah.
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if we see another Blizzard title on mobile.
Yeah.
Soon.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a mobile World of War, more mobile pay to Warcraft and stuff like that as well. Dragon says Blizzard lied very much about Diablo Immortal. Well, you can't buy armor and stuff like that. Yeah, they did. I here's the thing. I won't disagree with you. I won't disagree. They definitely coiled their words like a snake in certain situations. But I hate to say it, thus is the world, and thus is the world of mobile games. Everybody, here's the thing. I'm just going to give you guys an example of what I did. So Blizzard announced a mobile game. I completely fucking disregarded it the second they announced it, because I don't have any interest in doing that. I don't want to waste my money, and I know exactly what it was going to be. And one of the things is, and this is actually, I think a lot of Diablo fans and a lot of Blizzard fans burned themselves because they begged for a PC version. They begged for it. You guys remember? Because they asked, they're like, is there going to be a PC version? And they said no. And then that's when we want Diablo 4. There's not even going to be a PC version of this Diablo Immortal. And then they give you what you wanted. And then you realize, oh, wait, this is fucking trash. Yes, of course it's going to be trash. What did you think it was going to be?
It's so stupid.
It's one like I understand why people are upset, and I'm not undermining your ability to be upset, but also at the same time, when we're talking about mobile games, you have to also be somewhat realistic about your expectations. I don't think that's out of line for me to make that assumption that we should temper our expectations when we're talking about mobile games, and we should learn how to be able to separate the difference between a mobile game and a AAA title. However, and I'll bring this up because I will back up the folks that we're on the I Hate Blizzard Diablo Immortal train, and I'm gonna back you up on this. Activision Blizzard as a company has been very lazy and have been including and obviously have been using a lot of their mobile developers in the development of a lot of their stuff, and they're trying to do this metaverse-esque thing where they're including all of their franchises under a bubble. And I think a really good example of this is actually Call of Duty, because that has like probably the worst UI I've ever seen in my entire life. That menu system,
Hulu.
Shit. That stuff, yeah, that was the biggest hot fucking trash I've seen in a long time.
But it lines up really well on an iPhone or a Samsung. It looks really nice on it. So
yeah,
that's why it was in there. And I mean that honestly, that's the main reason that Microsoft wants to buy them. It isn't just for Call of Duty. It is literally for all the mobile. That's the market they want. They want the mobile market, because if they can get them on the mobile market, guess what? They've got streaming services on your phone right now that you can play your Game Pass games on. Well, so if you're obviously going to buy there, and then they can get you in both.
Well, when we're talking about like these like mobile-esque UIs and stuff like that, you guys have to keep in mind that in the relatively near future, console gaming is going to die, and everything we're going to be doing is going to be streaming our games off of other devices. Like the idea of us having like hard copies of games is already dead, right?
Yeah.
Eventually,
has been on PC for a long time.
Eventually, we're going to start moving into eventually, I'm not saying it's tomorrow. I'm not saying it's next year. I'm just saying eventually it's going to get to the point where you're just going to be using an app on your TV and you're doing cloud gaming. There's going to be no necessity for you to actually have your own equipment. Everything is going to be server side, and everything's going to be done in a massive factory filled with 9080 Ti's.
Yeah, and starting it off right now, like to back up your point, PlayStation's next iteration that they're talking about is going to have an external disk drive that you can optionally buy. So they're going to sell the standard console without a disk drive in it for the first time ever. Like of just that. Like you can buy either or right now, one with, one without. But they're not going to have one with. It's going to be an external.
Oh, okay. So it's just straight up. If you want an external disk drive, then you can plug it in so you can play disc games. Yep. But they're probably not going to sell discs on the next console. Are they?
They probably still will. I mean, not really, because the disc only have 5 megabytes on the disc, and you download it anyway. It's just like that you have a piece of physical material. It's so stupid.
Eric says he just hit 25 and he's clearing level 27 outposts faster than his full legendary barbarian. Welcome to welcome to Sork life, bud. Welcome to Hydra plus Chain Lightning life.
Woolie's got a good question. In your opinion, why are there many gacha games double with a free characters as a free to play?
Doable.
Doable is because that free character that you can get, you can also pay to get, but that free character, you'll still end up hitting a wall to where you have to end up buying something for it anyway. It's just the way, from what I've seen, in my opinion. He's played more gacha than me.
Yeah, okay. So you see, so you're saying, in your opinion, why are there so many gacha games with free characters? So are you talking about like a 5-star, like an SSR character or something like that? Because what that is called that's called the gateway drug. Let's give you a super rare reroll right off the bat just to give you hooked. You know what I mean? It's like it's like
got some more crack raps, Joe Rogan.
Yep, exactly. It's one of those things where they're sitting outside. Yeah, the first one's free. That's what it is. It's the drug dealer outside that's like, hey. Look, I know you haven't tried this before, but if you just I'm telling you, man, it's gonna change your fucking life, man. gonna change your life, man. Yeah, that's why they do it, because it's the smartest thing you possibly could do. Like, it's I remember, like, when I had gone through my, back in the day when I went through my gotcha addictions, I ran into this whole situation in which I got turned off by games that I was playing specifically because of the fact that I didn't have any rare characters. And that's why, and that's what it did. It didn't hook me because I didn't have any rare characters. And then finally, when I ended up playing a game that just hooked me up right off the fucking bat, I was like, oh shit, I'm in it, boys. We in it now. We in it. Stay a while and listen. I miss Deckard Cain.
You're gonna have to get better, because Lorath's the new Deckard, so you're gonna have to get that growl in your voice.
I don't know. I don't know if I can do. I don't know. I don't think I can do his voice. That might be a little bit difficult for me.
You got to practice.
At least stay with me for some dinner.
You've rummaged through all of my things.
Do you want to?
You know what's so weird about that? Okay, this is a tiny spoiler. Like you get drugged, they try to kill you, and then you break into someone's house, and then immediately they try to feed you again. You're like, fuck it.
Diablo 4 ASMR. You're like,
dum.
Yeah, Diablo 4 ASMR stream. I'm just like, hey, do you want to do some shots out of that demon skull over there? I can't do it. His voice is so harsh and raspy.
Like what he's doing in his throat. It's like
I questioned a lot about myself.
It's two bears, and they're fighting over one fish.
Yeah.
And they're getting it.
And I want to be the fish.
I don't know why I just laughed like a Hanna-Barbera character.
Shit. Oh man. So anyway, overall, I mean, dude, there's just so much to like with the game. Of course there's concerns. We're really only going to know how great this game is once we actually get to the end game and we get a full view of everything. It's also going to be interesting to see, like, getting able to play next weekend and seeing the how the other characters line up.
The only real other character to play. Just saying.
I don't know, man. Like, it depends on like what some of the druid builds and stuff like that are going to be looking like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Mr. Nicolaides brings it up. Path of Diablo. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is what Blizzard has always been good at. Blizzard has always been good at stealing other people's ideas, making them accessible to a larger audience, and then creating their own community out of it. And I think as long as Blizzard in this case can do that, and they can make it where they can go and they can actually, I don't know, give us compelling gameplay that maybe is a little easier to pick up and put down than like something like Path of Exile, then I think that's fine. Because you have to keep in mind, there is a lot of people that don't want to have anything to do with PoE.
Yeah.
This guy.
I love ARPGs, and that game is.
He is a filthy, dirty casual, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with mega spreadsheets and 4 hour long videos on how to build a character. And I understand it. I get it. I get into that stuff. I actually do enjoy that from time to time. Other times I don't necessarily enjoy it. However, I can see the way that it would turn you away. You know what I mean? So I think it's good what they're doing here. They're taking from everybody, a little bit from everybody else, and they're also putting in, a couple of their own things. This is definitely we're getting real close into the realm of World of Diablo. This is very MMO-esque. I didn't realize it was going to be that. They did take a lot from Lost Ark. Mosh asks, anyone know if the instanced content mobs and bosses health individually scales with party size? I don't know. We haven't actually done any multiplayer content.
I don't know. I would assume that it does normally, because that's generally what happens with Diablo. But playing those with other people, I didn't notice it scale or didn't notice any different than normal by myself. So I would think if it's an instanced world and somebody else is there, even though because they're in the same server on the same screen, it should scale the difficulty. But I didn't feel it, so I don't know.
So something just brought up in chat right now. Like there's a couple videos that are actually on this channel that are like less popular, that don't really have a whole lot of views. I think I'm only on like maybe my 7th video essay. I haven't really done very many. There's only been a few, but one of the ones I did a few weeks ago was actually it's talking about like why games fail, and it talks about like the homogeny in games. I think that's and like a lot of games will take from each other, and that's why everything overall, like you start seeing these like fog of war mechanics or like the Ubisoft, the Ubisoft formula of how they do world building and stuff like that. And you see a lot of this stuff like all throughout all kinds of different games, and a lot of games all start feeling very samey. But here at the same time, I think it's great to steal from other games. And I talk about this in that video. I think it's great to steal from other games. However, like make it better.
Yep. If
you're gonna steal from something, make the iteration of that improved in some way. Now I realize that this is especially true for ARPGs, especially for Diablo. You can't necessarily make an iteration on this game and make it where it's always gonna make both the casual and the hardcore fans happy, because those are two completely different crowds. So I think and this personally, and I imagine most of you guys are probably going to agree with this, is that I want to say that this game is very much turning towards the way of trying to make the casual players have their own kind of hardcore game to play.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
No, I could agree with that.
This game is not going to appeal to Path of Exile players,
and that's why, like I said, I'm not comparing this game to any other ARPG. I'm comparing it to Diablo 3, and it has surpassed it already, like by leaps and bounds. In almost every category, has surpassed Diablo 3. So for me, as a Diablo fan, makes me happy. So
yeah,
but yeah, I don't see like the stuff that they took from Lost Ark with the map transition and sighting stuff. I think the viewpoint vantages that they did are better than Lost Ark's. The movement on the stuff not near as, I don't think is as good. It might just be on par.
Yeah,
with it, but like I said, it adding that stuff into it doesn't make this a worse game because of it, though. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it a lesser game because they added that from there. I like the fact that they, like, the stuff that they didn't take from PoE is, like putting in runes as your skills. You know what I mean?
I feel like that'd be too direct of a ripoff anyway. Yeah, that'd be too direct of a ripoff in the first place. Personally, I don't really mind the way that they do skills in either game. I think that's fine. I'm just really interested to see like what this end game content's really going to look like. Because right now we can only kind of just go off of our own ideas. And it's the one question that everybody's really asking, because we already can see that playing the game as it is right now, like, it's a solid game. It has all of the foundation, all of the support necessary to be a good game. Whether or not it's a good game later is really the question that we're going to have to ask, because this isn't going to be, I think critically this game is going to probably score very well. Just because, like, you think about like IGN and people like that, they can only really play the game for like 3 hours anyway. So they're going to be like, oh, it's great. They probably already have. IGN probably already has the review done. They just played the beta and they're like, "Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's great. Beat the game. Story's great.
Yeah, we beat the game. We did all the story, all the campaign quests. It was really good."
I think for the community, what they can't do, is have a shitty first season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, first season needs to pop.
It needs to pop. It needs to pop hard.
I'm really hoping that the success of season of season 28 in Diablo 3 taught them like what they need to do to make a successful season for Diablo 4 first season.
Yeah.
Because this current season right now for Diablo 3 is actually really popular. It's doing really well. It brought a lot of people back to play the game. It's not just the hype behind Diablo 4. It's also because like this current season, if any of you guys have played it, you guys will probably agree. This current season of Diablo 3 is freaking fun. It's cool. It's so much. I mean, it's so much
game changing. It's game changing the way they changed.
It's so much faster to level up characters. Like you can, like once you get those first initial nodes done, dude, you just burn through and be like, well, I'm gonna level another character and you just grab like, I think the first one I did was the Witch Doctor. I got it maxed, got it up, started running stuff on it, and then I swapped over and did, I think, like a monk or a barbarian, and I think it maybe took like an hour and a half, and I was bam, level 70, and I'm like, dude, this just feels good. This is so fun to do. Like it increases the pace, but it also kind of makes it where it's really easy for you to just kind of turn around and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm done, because you get to beat it quickly and go back to playing other games, which is something that I can kind of appreciate in some games. Bobby,
I believe a Telltale will be next weekend, where it's a completely open beta. Of see how the servers, if it's like super rough next weekend, like super rough, like this weekend actually wasn't all that bad. After about 4 hours of it being up, it was people weren't having a whole lot of issue. Next weekend, when the open world, whoever wants to just try it can go try it. That's when you're going to find out if it's going to have launch issues, or you could suspect that there might be a problem with launch issues. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh. No. Realize, I want you guys all to know, I'll put it on record right now. Next weekend, when they fire up that open beta, it is going to be worse. It's going to be way worse than it was the first day. Here's the thing. We can recognize this, though. Most of the issues they had already fixed by the second day.
Yeah.
Because when I went to go log in on Saturday, it was instant. There was no wait. I didn't have a queue time of like 30 minutes or anything like that. It was just straight up into the game and rolling. Also, I never experienced any, I didn't experience any disconnects either.
No, I the only disconnect that I experienced is when I AFK'd to go pick my son up at the airport.
Yeah, that's obvious, right?
Yeah, that's the only one I had.
That was just you were off of the game for too long.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that we're gonna obviously see server issues and stuff like that with the next open beta. We're gonna see major server issues when the game actually gets to full release. That's for sure. But here's the thing: that stuff is temporary.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, we know. Here's the thing: we can say, "Oh man, it's Blizzard." Blizzard being classic Blizzard. Can you guys please tell me what game you know of off the top of your head that had a solid launch with no server issues, no crashes, no disconnects, no long queue times in the last ever
decade?
Yeah, I mean, like, and here's some of you guys might know, like, I'm a Final Fantasy Andy. I play Final Fantasy 14.
Fucking Burn Naked got you, dude. Hello Kitty Island launched fine. So
damn.
Got him. Drake, shut up with the Wilson, bro. That's your second Wilson comment. You're about to get booted. You're about to get booted, bro.
Why do you got to bring it up like that? Why you got? By the way, I want you guys to know, if any of you guys played Wilson before, Mark here like hyped me up on this game. I got into it too. I was like, okay. This is. I got hyped because of Drake. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then we played the game. Honestly, I wish we were streaming back then, because that was some of the best content we could have got. That time that we had the boss that it was glitched and it kept healing itself to max, and we just had to DPS as hard as we possibly could to try to outpace the automatic healing that the game turned on for some reason.
We'd get him down to 0, and this son of a bitch would just pop up like the Undertaker. Just pop up and be like, let's go. And then it
teleported us. It did a cutscene, and when it did the cutscene, it somehow teleported us off of the boss stage and just like off into the distance, and we're like watching the boss just walk around on the boss stage, and we can't go anywhere. We're just floating up in space, basically. It was so good.
Did Wilson hit console?
No.
I had a console guy. Yesterday I had a console guy ask me my opinion on it.
It barely hit PC. What are you talking about?
No, I had Jedi Knight Peter asked if Wilson was a good game. It's only $60, and I know he only plays on console. So I was like, no. Oh, Dukes, yep, it's on PlayStation. It's on PlayStation.
Dukes, don't bring up I saw there was a patch note recently, and like every time I see it, I get always like somewhat excited, and I'm like, you know what? I've also seen them do other patch notes as well, and it's never gotten better. Just hasn't. I don't know why they can't figure out how to make that game good. It must be an issue with that studio or something like that. It's a game that I wish was good. It has a lot of really good ideas, but it just never found itself.
The end game is terrible.
Yeah.
End game is terrible.
Yeah. Like I said, it has a lot of good ideas, but it just didn't capitalize on anything.
Wow, it made it to PlayStation.
FF12 was back on PS2. Or are we talking about? Oh, I'm talking about Final Fantasy IV. Oh, so no. So sorry. I was talking about Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO. When they released their latest expansion, Endwalker, which like they're actually pretty good about keeping like high quality servers and keeping their servers up and stuff like that, except for if you're in Europe. They had major issues where they couldn't let people log in or anything like that. It's been a long time since I played an online game that didn't have server issues for at least the first week. So I'm not gonna put that on Blizzard because it's just every company, every server, everywhere. Everybody's like that.
Yeah. Dukes is starting to slowly become my dude, man. I'm hoping the Necro is a little bit better.
Oh my god, you Necro simps, you Necrophiles.
Necro's the way, bro. It's the way.
Necrophiles, just jamming like Death Mass Divine by Black Dahlia Murder.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go a little off topic. If are there any readers in the chat, check out Awaken Online, series of books. It's pretty dope. I'm back into reading it. I got to finish. I got 2 more left in the series to read. It's an isekai, and the main character is a necromancer in the game, and it's super dope.
Oh, so it's basically Overlord, but it's all there's no pictures.
Do you need pictures?
I do. I do need pictures.
I need
a pop-up book.
Yeah, it's super dope. It's a super cool series. But yeah, I'm hoping the Necro is dope. I'm gonna actually be honest. I'm actually kind of concerned about the Necro in this game, just because of the gameplay that I've seen of it. It looks super slow. It looks super like mid-range casty. Is what it looks like.
I mean, the like overall the combat in Diablo 4 is very weighted. It's very. It is. And here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I've enjoyed PoE. I've enjoyed Diablo 3. I've enjoyed to a point. I've enjoyed Last Epoch. I think next week probably, since we're gonna have a break of Diablo, I think maybe we'll go back to that. And I really want us to give I'm thinking about making like a proper. Like a proper review video, like my style of review, you know what I mean? Where I kind of go into Last Epoch because there's some things that like it just doesn't catch me on.
There's some things they did. There's some things they knock out of the park.
There's some stuff that they do really, really well in that game that I'd love to beat. But here's the thing: it's one of those deals where with Last Epoch, it's one of those things where I'm like, they do something really cool, and instead of me being really excited for Last Epoch for doing it, I'm wishing other games did it because it would be better there.
It's Wish version.
You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I look at like the trading system. I look at like the trading system that they have in Last Epoch, and I'm like, man, I wish Diablo 4 had this. Like technically, I could interact with it on Last Epoch, but I'm like, I would much rather interact with that on Diablo 4 if I could. Their trading system and stuff, their their merchant guild and whatever the other one is, like you can either choose to join one guild where you can pick up items and then you can trade those items, all of your items, with other players, or you can make it where none of the items that you pick up you can trade. However, all of the items that you pick up are of higher quality.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
So like, what way do you go? And it's not saying that you wouldn't be able to.
It depends on if you're a social player or not.
And I'm not saying that you can't get high quality equipment or I want to say, I take it back. I don't think it's higher quality equipment. Higher quality equipment drops more regularly. So your drop rate is increased if you choose one way to play, or you can choose the other way where you can actually trade items. But your drop chance is lower. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting thought. I think it's an interesting mechanic. System. That's why I said, like, I wish that was something like that they had for Diablo 4, but instead they're doing that. Like, you know what the funny thing is? A lot of people are complaining about the trading system that's going to be in Diablo 4, and I really don't think it's that bad. I think it only limits you where you can't trade maybe legendaries, but you can trade rares. But you're going to want rares more than legendaries anyway.
Just for the materials. Be honest with you, I've been breaking them down because for your upgrading, it still takes Veld crystals and whatnot.
No. No, so no, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, you're gonna want rares more than legendaries because rares are gonna have the better rolls for your substats, and then you're just gonna apply whatever affix you want onto it to make it a legendary. They're putting a lot less emphasis on you finding good legendaries, and more emphasis on you trying to find good items in general, which I think is really cool. I found a
banger of a bow. I found a banger of a legendary bow.
Yeah,
like, it's a banger.
Well, is it all the substats, or is it just the affix?
Substats and the affix.
Okay, so I mean, it's not like you still can't get lucky and get a good roll on everything.
Oh yeah, no, I could get a better bow for sure.
But so the thing is that on from what I understand, okay, from what I understand, chat can correct me on this. I don't know if I think I'm right, but rare items, yellow items, can spawn with 5 affixes, 5 stat affixes, 5 stats on it. However, so can legendaries. However, with legendary items, one of those affixes is always going to be the imprinted. One of those affixes is actually showing on screen right now. However, one of those are going to be the legendary affix. So technically, if you get a rare, that rare can have 5 stats, right? And then the 6th one can be the legendary skill. So you can get more stats out of a rare than you actually can a legendary. I'm pretty sure that's right.
I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. They both have the same amount of substats. However, the legendary is technically limited because one of those substats is actually going to be the legendary affix. So you can take that legendary affix and go through it on a rare item, and now you have an even better legendary with more affixes. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
I'm almost 1,000% positive.
Okay.
I'm not the stats guy. I'm not your subject matter expert. I try to be in most cases, but I'm not your spreadsheet guy. All right, chat. Was hoping for you guys to back me up on that. I'm just
you got one
spread guy.
You're just the spread guy. You got one. One says yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Sounds right. Sounds good. Okay. Yep. See, 2 people now. I am correct.
Well, if 2 people say it, it's got to be true.
That's how the internet works.
That's how it works.
That's how the internet works, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Bobby. Sheets.
Hey, so actually, you know what? Here's the thing. I want to bring this up really quick because this is super wild. Guys, I want to let you guys know. I love you. We've been doing this podcast for almost a year now. This channel is
11 months.
This channel is 11 months old. We just started doing live content. That was the only thing we ever did. It took us a while to finally kind of find our swing or whatnot like this, but this is actually crazy enough. This is the largest podcast we've ever had ever, and it's freaking sick to have this many people hanging out, chatting, talking about video games. Normally, we don't just sit here and talk about one game. Usually, we sit here and talk about a whole gang load of them.
This is the big deal though.
But this is a big deal because this is
a big deal.
This is going to be a main focus of content in our channel, and also just it's our love. I mean, we love Diablo, so it's just one of those kind of things. But we super appreciate everybody coming out and chatting and talking and stuff. This is really, really cool. Keep in mind, if this is obviously for a lot of you guys, if this is your first time here, we do this every Sunday at 2 p.m. So if you guys want to come out, hang out, talk video games, this is the spot to do it because we try to make sure that this is an all-inclusive conversation where we're bringing in some of your opinions into the conversation and discussing them and dissecting them and kind of going back and forth. And then plus on top of that, I also need you guys to validate my opinions.
I wish he was joking, chat. I really wish he was joking.
Validate me.
click like. Yeah, no, like this is a big deal, man. This has been a long time coming. And
wait a minute, I didn't need to bring this up because I'm going to forget about it if I let you go on. How do you guys feel about the fact that the sorceress in a Blizzard game has an outfit where half of her titties hanging out?
I have an extreme problem because I haven't seen that yet.
I am offended by it.
Is that the Bobby Kotick special?
What is wrong with you? We don't bring up. We don't drop names here.
Oh, sorry. Is that the BK special?
I like that better.
No, it's like I don't know. I bet she gets so nerfed. I do. I bet
you think the titty gets nerfed?
God.
I don't think the titty gets nerfed.
I don't. I think you made a good point about it. Now that they're out of China, they were like, screw it.
Dude, I'm dead serious. Here's the thing. Uncensored stuff appeals more to American audiences or to North American audiences, Canada, US, and actually Europe as well. Way more than it does more than it does China. The problem is that a lot of these game companies, when they're trying to make a game that has a global version, they always have to dumb it down and censor it as much as they possibly can.
Change the color of blood.
Change the color of blood or take out blood entirely because of the fact that they won't be able to sell that product in China. And now that Blizzard's had this massive fallout with basically every publisher in China, I'm honest. I think
gotcha. Sorcerer skins,
guys. I think Dad's coming home.
Oh yeah,
is Dad coming home? He said he went out to get milk. Anyway, sorry. Okay. But no. I think genuinely that they might actually be kind of turning away from kind of some of this. I'm sorry, but if you guys don't think that the sorceress is a baddie, also on top of that, did you see the thighs on that freaking barbarian? Whoa. Woof.
Yeah,
What?
he's thick.
Wow. Okay. Hey man, this is a judgment-free zone, dog. Judgment-free zone. Anyway, so welcome to the Just Ian podcast. This is just me from now on. Don't you dare. Right into the microphone too.
I forgot to push mute this time.
Yeah. Jesus. Anyway, so anyway, I'm genuinely impressed with like 90% of this game right now. There's really not a lot that feels concerning, which is really nice. I don't know. Chat.
The skills are going to be a big deal for me. Skills are a big deal.
Skills are a big deal. I definitely feel like it's unironically, but this is also we got to keep this in mind, dude. We can't even look at the Paragon board.
Yep, I know. Like I said, hopefully it's really good because as of right now, it would be boring.
And it was brought up in chat earlier as well. And you have to keep this in mind. And I've seen it with some of the other abilities, and like you even brought it up with the bow. If there is stuff that is genuinely like that skill transformative, then that means that Diablo is trying to go back to old school Diablo, okay? Yeah. And they're trying to go back to like where weapons and items are really transformative to a build. And I really appreciate that.
Except for set builds.
Please stay away from set builds. Like I mean, they should still have sets, make them cool, but like make them more like stat based than skill based, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, D3's Paragon is pretty busted. Depends on how far up you get. I had a lot of Paragon on the Xbox, and it got to where I didn't even want to play the game. Because once even you go to make a new character, yeah, it's fun to do the whole level up, yay. But as soon as you hit level 70, it turns on your 1,000, 1,500 Paragon, and then it's just not fun anymore. So.
100%. Whirlwind Barb is absolutely terrible. That's just kind of there's not really a whole lot to talk about there. At first, I thought it was just Asmongold that was bad, but then I realized later it was actually it was both. It was the build and him.
Yeah, I don't have any interest to even start a barb. To be honest with you.
I've seen bleed builds that looked like they were pretty good, like people using a rend and stuff like that.
Skills don't slap.
No, I'm dead serious. I've actually seen like some more leaning towards the dots and the bleeds that actually does better damage, and that makes a lot more sense. Because it's going to be more percentage-based damage multipliers than like percentage of health or percentage of damage. And some of that stuff might actually stack too.
Yeah, you know what we haven't taken into consideration is builds as a group. That's what we haven't taken into consideration. Are they building the barb to be like the tanker? And then you've got your Sork over here, and then you've got your necromancer or rogue for your bigger. That's what it looks like it leans to, because
that makes
more sense.
That's actually a really good point. It actually looks like they built the game. And here's the thing, we kind of already realized that because they're going for this always online situation in the first place, right? So since they're doing online only, that makes sense that they're going to lean more on RPG or MMO mechanics, which you would have your barbarian as your group up, CC, keep them away from the squishies guy, right? And then your mage would be the one sitting in the back, and I'm just blasting. So I think that's 100% possible that there's a really good chance that the barbarian and maybe even a couple of the other melee classes were balanced in a way to make sure that they were balanced for group play. I didn't think about that.
And I mean, how many hop in, drop traps and leave? How
many of you guys have actively played in a larger group, like other than just solo by yourself? I mean, I understand that like this is typically supposed to be that kind of game that we're playing by ourselves, but we've always played like these kind of games together with other people at the same time. Yeah. It's usually a solid balance between the two.
Bare Naked, I've got some bad news for you, bub. There is content that says that you need to be in a party to do in this game. It is World of Diablo.
But it's optional content. It's optional content. It's optional content. You don't actually have to. It's not like story content or something like that forces you. There's optional content like the world bosses and some quests that say it's recommended to take a group. Now, I think you could probably still technically solo that group dungeon. It's just probably gonna take a little while.
Well, the build that I ran with the and I tried a couple different things. The build that I ran with the rogue single target's not super great. The build that I was using. So for bosses, I mean, don't get me wrong, I could kill bosses. It just took time. Like it was literally because you know how the boss screen or the boss health bar has like the little quarter notches of like this is your burn point, and then it'll drop 2 heal orbs, and then you get your next burn point till then, whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's usually 4 of them. So basically, I'd have to just try to burn them and as fast as I can to get to each one to get the health orbs, and then just keep going. It was like a lot of kiting. It was a lot of kiting and dodging.
I mean, it's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that we need to cover for Diablo?
I don't know. I think we've kind of hammered that horse, man. I love the voice. Like the voice acting is so good. Like it's so hard. Like I'm so excited about the game. Like I could keep talking. We can keep talking for another 2 hours about it. But
yeah,
I think we've covered everything that.
Do you know what? Actually, to bring that up on a quality standpoint, from just the quality of the game overall, the one thing that I can definitely say, and this kind of really shows specifically with the voice acting, is the fact that like even the useless, completely unnecessary NPCs are all voice acted and voice acted well. I haven't really found any NPCs that don't have good voice acting. Like they all sound pretty good. It doesn't sound like we've seen with a lot of these other games where NPCs honestly sounded like they just grabbed some random dude off the street and was just like, "Hey, adventurer, I need your help." And it's just and you get these weird voice lines,
weird deliveries.
Yeah, weird delivery, like weird connotation, all that kind of stuff, weird inflection and whatnot. However, you just really don't see that in this game, which is really impressive, especially when you're talking about like side quests, NPCs that actually don't have any purpose. Stuff like that is actually also something that kind of blows my mind. I think it's wild. Wow.
Like the first town you go to, the major city, what's it? Kiverbold? I can't remember how they say it. But like there's one NPC and I was just running by and I hit A and they're standing by a fire and they got pissed off and told me to go find my own fire to get warmed up against. And then like just I'm about my business. It's just cool. It was a voice acted. It wasn't a text bubble. I mean, it doesn't even have to be in the game, but it is. So yep. I think your cat's about to attack your face.
Oh, he's hungry. That's why it's his dinner time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's almost his dinner time. Speaking of, it's almost mine as well. Okay, so let me get some plugs here at the end real fast. A couple things. One, there's already a new video on the channel right now. If you guys haven't gone to watch it, go watch it. It's about Diablo 3 and just like it's a series in review. Just looking at the 10 years that Diablo was out and giving it kind of a look back before we look forward to Diablo 4. Kind of knowing where we're coming from and where we're going and why we're going in that direction. That's kind of what that's what that's about. Also on top of that, I'm planning on streaming a couple times this week. I'm going to be streaming either Path of Exile, or because I really haven't gotten too hardcore into Path of Exile. I really want to try to get more familiar with it because I feel like I should. I'm either going to be playing that, or I'm going to end up playing Last Epoch. Right. So I'll probably, you know what I'll probably do is I'll probably actually put a I'll put a poll out, and on the poll I'll give you guys a choice what you guys want to see me playing. And then there's a video. There's also a video next week that's going to be coming out about Diablo 4. Our thoughts on it, kind of a culmination of this podcast that you guys watched today. But there's also some other things that, honestly, it's a lot of me just going in on the people that have been trying to shit on Diablo for no reason whatsoever, like saying things are just more blatantly not true, and they're just trying to cope.
It's just toxic.
No, it's just like it's the, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the people that are like, you know, when you have everybody and they're like, hey, happy birthday, and then there's that one guy that's like, yeah, now you're a year closer to dying. It's them. They're those people, by the way. They're those people. So I'm gonna go over some stuff like that in the video. It's more just like looking at the community as a whole and their views of Diablo so far, kind of a culmination of that. I'm going to stream, and obviously I'm going to stream a couple times as well. Again, guys, this podcast is every Sunday at 2 p.m. PST. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. PST. That is 4 p.m. Central Time. Right?
4 p.m. Central, yes.
4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So we post reminders and stuff like that. Make sure that you guys drop a like and also a comment on the video. We want these discussions to last longer and longer. And honestly, these usually only go for about an hour, and we went a little over that today. I definitely want to thank everybody that came out. Like, dude, you guys have been awesome in chat. Like the questions you guys posted, the way that you guys helped really kind of push the discussion along, some of the concerns that you had, some of the things that you guys loved, making up for my shortcomings, for the information that I failed to have in certain situations. It was good. I really appreciate you guys coming by. I hope to see you guys again next time. But until then, see you next time. Later.